Diamond. I know there were some throws that it got a little hairy there in that game yesterday, but defensively, they're just always in the right spot. I don't know if they're man for man the best infield defense in Giants history of what we've seen in San Francisco, but they are very, very solid. They don't beat themselves.
No, they don't beat themselves. And I just, they're playing to their strengths right now, B. Obviously, you've referenced some of the outfield defensive plays that have happened over the last couple of weeks, specifically Lamont Wade backing up yesterday, which was absolutely vital. They always seem to hit cutoffs.
Yep.
Right? Even though they don't have a lot of great plus arms, they hit the cutoff man. They play really sound baseball. One of the things that we always say on the Little League diamond is don't throw it around. And what I mean by that is, the third baseman, when the ball hits you, play catch with the first baseman. Throw it over there. Don't throw it down the line. If you're in the middle infield, record it out, and if there's no play to be had at first base, don't throw it down there. And I feel like this team kind of knows its limitations, and they just don't throw the ball around. And I think that's a very underrated skill set to have for a team. We just watched Arizona and Colorado back-to-back. Those teams throw it around, and there's a reason why they're not very good. And it's because they create too much chaos unnecessarily.
No doubt about that. Look, when you look at this team and they're 36 games over 500, and they have the Dodgers coming up after Labor Day, and they're about to go on this road trip where they play the A's, they play the Mets and the Braves. When you go to these road venues and you're playing these big playoff games, we were talking before the show about Brooks Conrad. Braves had that game wrapped up, but you don't field the ball cleanly and you lose the baseball game. We've seen this over and over. You think about the Texas Rangers losing the World Series, Nelson Cruz make a play in the outfield. You know what I'm saying? Can't catch a baseball. And you lose the World Series by that point when you're down to the last strike. This team does not beat themselves, and I think it bodes well. You bring up Arizona, Colorado. What about the Dodgers? Dodgers, the last time they came out to Oracle Park, they threw the ball around, committed a ton of errors, didn't hit the cutoff man. What about the rundown play with Yaz where he doesn't concede, and then Bellinger throws it into the stands, and Buster Posey scores from third base? They do not beat themselves, whatever. And you know what? That's a pitcher's best friend. When you got Logan Webb out there dealing and getting a bunch of ground balls, you can't beat yourselves. You're going to get opportunities to make plays, and that backs up a pitcher where he's all of a sudden feeling confident to throw sinkers. He's throwing balls down low in the zone to get those ground balls. So what else can we add? What else can we add to this team? They're rolling right now. They're 4 games up on the Dodgers. They're pitching great. Logan Webb's dealing right now, becoming one of the best pitchers in baseball. They're hitting bombs left and right. What else? Whatever superlative can you say about throw at this team? Well,
I'm trying to find a comp in Bay Area history for them being. It's almost impossible. I think a lot of people want to pivot and go, 2011 Niners. 2011 Niners had so many players in their prime. Frank Gore in his prime. Joe Staley in his prime. Patrick Willis in his prime, an ascending Navarro Bowman, an ascending Aldon Smith. Like, we look back on that team with a little more perspective than we saw in real time. They were an underachieving bunch for multiple years in a row. And then they got the right coach, and boom, they hit the ground. They made a lot of little tinkering moves, but the main building blocks in place were guys that were foundational pieces. Justin Smith was in his prime. I'm just trying to use that as an example. The only thing I can think of that comes close, and I think it's very different, is the We Believe Warriors. And the We Believe Warriors made a coaching change in the year prior, right, where they bring in Nelly at the beginning of that year, and they changed 2 guys out of that starting rotation with a deadline deal, swinging a deal for Al Harrington and Steven Jackson. But even then, I look back, I'm like, man, Baron Davis was in his prime, and he was a stellar player. I'm looking at Posey, Crawford, Belt, Longoria. These guys are past their primes. I mean, they're having great years right now, but if I looked at their body of work, most people would say, yeah, they're probably on the back end, if not on the final hole of their careers. And then you got a bunch of randos. I mean, Lamont Wade Jr. now is becoming, a Giants household name. Bonta, the average baseball fan does not know who Lamont Wade Jr. is. The average baseball fan doesn't know who Logan Webb is right now. And I'm just looking at this, even the 2010 team, you brought up Buster Posey, the Golden Spikes Award winner, rookie. You know what I'm saying? You had Lincecum, 2-time Cy Young Award winner. You had Matt Cain, who most people deem to be a very, very, very good player. Brian Wilson already had a 40-save season under his belt. There's almost no comp for this team.
The 1997 Giants coming out of nowhere to win the NL West. I think will be the closest comp to this team, where they came out of nowhere and they had, coming off the strike years, they were really struggling. They make the big trade for Jeff Kent. They trade away fan favorite Matt Williams. Everybody was down on Brian Sabian. But I just look around baseball because it's tough to just limit it to the Bay Area. And our program director, Matt Nahegan, we'll get to something fun in just a second here. He was like, who could you compare this team to?
Yeah.
A team that's come out of nowhere. Honestly, I think about the 07-08 Rays. The 2007 Tampa Bay Rays was 66-96. They were a terrible team through its existence, right? Remember the Devil Rays and Lou Piniella and Wade Boggs and Fred McGriff? They stunk. They kind of came out of nowhere in 08. They advanced to the World Series and lose to the Phillies, but they finished first in the AL East. They beat the Boston Red Sox in the ALCS, and they had a bunch of young guys, but they didn't have a lot of guys in their prime. You know what I'm saying?
Wasn't it B.J. Upton and Longoria? Was it Longoria on that team?
Longoria was a rookie on that team, 22 years old.
Oh, my goodness.
Which is why, because I was thinking last night, I was like, what team?
Yeah.
What team?
Was it B.J. Upton?
B.J. Upton was on that team. He came up there.
David Price was on that team.
David Price was
he?
a rookie. He was a rookie who got the save in Game 7 against the Boston Red Sox in the American League Championship Series. Navarro was catching. Carlos Pena
Navarro was good.
Carlos Pena hit 31 bombs that year for them.
Wow.
Carl Crawford was on that roster. Cliff
Crawford
Floyd.
was so sick.
Uncle Cliffy was on that team.
Wow.
So, that was...
that was a young team.
That was a young team,
wow, that's
but there wasn't a lot of guys in their prime. And you think about the pitching staff. James Shields was an afterthought, right?
Yeah.
Matt Garza.
Big game, James.
Matt Garza, an afterthought.
Yeah.
Edwin Jackson. We see how his career's played out. He's become a
17
tournament.
teams?
Yes, exactly. Scott Casimir.
Hey,
so they had
Casimir's had a lot of run.
He had a lot of run. And you had Joe Maddon there, a quirky manager where a lot of people didn't believe in him. That was the only, I was looking at, the Tigers maybe with Gene Leland when they came out of nowhere. But I'm grasping for straws, trying to find a comp for this team here. And I'm just like, you know what? They're just different. And they're revolutionary in the way they approach the game every night. Like Strobin had good stuff last night. Yeah, good stuff last night. 2 hits. That's all you needed. 2 hits yesterday. Boom, you walk out with a win against the New York Mets, and you win another series.
Yeah, I'm at the point, and I know this is not the profession to be speechless, but I'm pretty speechless when it comes to this team because there's nothing to knock. Not that I'm looking for something to knock,
right.
but the storylines are so unbelievable, straight up unbelievable. Every night it's a different person contributing or 3 different guys contributing. Right when you think one of the old timers is just about to hit the wall, they come back and it's incredible. I mean, they're undefeated in these horrific city jerseys that everybody is shoving down my throats.
They're growing on me, man. They're growing on me. 707 on the text line. They are the 2019 49ers.
Not bad. That's not bad. That's
not
not
bad.
bad. That's not bad. That's actually that's not bad at all, actually. I find this team to be incredibly likable, and I find this team to just be incredibly unbelievable in the sense that, I'm being honest, I still don't know. I just don't know how they're doing it. I know I'm watching it every night, and it's a different guy delivering. Their approach at the plate has been outstanding. The way they've tinkered with their pitchers. I mean, whatever they worked on with Logan Webb, I don't know what it is specifically, mechanics-wise. Hunter Pence said yesterday, he's always had great stuff. Oh, okay. But the way he's painting corners and the way he keeps the ball down, they're doing something fundamentally with the man because his mechanics are flawless right now. Does he look like he's overthrowing?
No, he's not, and he looks confident. He just looks different on the mound. He looks like a dude who knows he's going to go out there and paint and deal. So hold your thought real quick. We'll get back to the Giants with Gabe's World here, but SummerSlam is this Saturday down in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium, and you're a big wrestling guy. Curly's a big wrestling guy. I used to be a big wrestling guy, but I respect the square circle. I do. I love you some old school WWE. So we decided here on the Morning Roast to come up with our best Bay Area tag team. We see some great tag team matches at SummerSlam. We see some triple matches with the Dudley Boys. Remember them? Demolition against the Hart Foundation. We see some great tag team matchups in the history of the SummerSlam. So we thought we'd have a little fun and come up with the best tag teams in Bay Area sports history. Hit the music, Steven. We got some great matchups here. Here we go, baby. Here we go. And the first matchup, we're going to put this on the poll at Morning Roast 957. And we have our brackets. We're going to put the post the brackets on Twitter. The first matchup we have in terms of the best Bay Area tag team matchup, it's Montana Rice against Jose Canseco and Mark McGuire.
Wow. Montana looked to Rathman and hits Rice. Rice scores for San Francisco. Didn't take long. Another one of those Joe Montana drives. Jerry Rice, a big play. And the thing, Denver did the thing they said they couldn't do. When they catch the ball, you got to tackle them. They didn't.
Home run for Jose Canseco. And look where he hit it. Over the center field fence, a line drive. It didn't get up, it didn't get down, it just got out. High drive up the alley in left center field, and this one is going to be gone. Home run, McGuire.
Wow, the Bash brothers against Montana and Rice. Of course, John Madden, Pat Summerall on the call when the Niners beat up on the Broncos in Super Bowl 24, 55-10. 55-10, and Montana and Rice were at the pinnacle. Well, then, not really Rice. He still had another 12 years of just dominating the league. And then, of course, Jose Canseco and Mark McGuire. You can't forget and diminish what the Bash brothers did. Vin Scully on the call. Vote right now. Morning Roast 957 the game. Montana Rice, Canseco McGuire. I'll fill out my bracket. I know where I'm going. And we got one more here, Shasky, but go ahead. Your thoughts on this matchup.
Just really quick. I mean, obviously, Joe Montana and Jerry Rice, I mean, when we think of the greatest duos in NFL history, I mean, they're at the top. Only to be outdone by Steve Young and Jerry Rice in terms of most connected touchdowns over the years, the 2 Super Bowls. I mean, it's incredible. Montana Rice, I mean, come on, it's like peanut butter and jelly. Canseco and McGuire, dramatically underrated when we think about they went to 3 consecutive World Series, won the one, 7 seasons together. Canseco, first 40-40 guy in Major League Baseball history. McGuire, 49 home runs as a rookie. I mean, they were outstanding in terms of duos in a lineup. I mean, that is what every team was looking for and still is looking for to this day. The Bash Brothers, they aren't just, a great duo. I mean, they were a vibe in the late 80s, early 90s.
No doubt about it. That poster with the K-Fall gloves on with the cop car. Real quick, Langford, let's go Bowman Willis in our next matchup. It's Navarro Bowman, Patrick Willis against Jeff Kent and Barry Bonds.
Second down and 10. Smith, my goodness. That was Patrick Willis who hit him high. That was vicious.
Pressure coming. Ryan gets rid of it for Douglas. It's fought for, and it's in the hands of Bowman, who's got all green grass. Navarro Bowman gonna take the Niners to the playoffs.
You put Barry Bonds on, and you got Jeff Kent to deal with, and man, his third in run production this year, 124 runs driven in. Great 3-4 combination for the San Francisco Giants. 93 runs driven in also.
Jeff Kent to right field and deep, and it is off the wall. Bonds comes around. He will score. San Francisco takes a 1-0 lead.
Well, that's the problem. Pitching around Barry Bonds, you put him on, and Kent drives you in.
Man, this is a monster matchup right here. You heard the hit. Patrick Willis laid on Brad Smith. I know that's one of your favorite plays in a historic career. Patrick Willis, Navarro Bowman, closing down Candlestick with the pick of the stick. Mike Tirico with the great call on Monday Night Football. Then you got Jeff Kent and Barry Bonds. Jeff Kent, Barry Bonds. This is a monster matchup, man. I don't know where to go. Eileen, Kent, and Bonds. Where do you go here before we put this on the poll? Oh, you're going sucker free. You're going Kent Bonds, baby.
I lifted up the shirt right here on the YouTube and on the Twitch.
I like it.
Look, I love Willis and Bowman. It's just too small of a body of work. They only played 4 seasons together. Willis was hurt a couple of those years. They were awesome. I would say singular seasons, I'll put their singular season of 2012 together up against anyone's. I'll put their 2013 up against anyone's, their 2011 up against anyone's. But ain't nobody in my heart bigger than Bonds and Kent.
Dude,
that's the greatest duo in baseball in my lifetime.
Ooh, they had a 5-year run that was just special. But you, the audience, the listeners, you guys will vote on this right now. Morning Roast 957 a game on our Twitter page at 957 a game. We're doing our best Bay Area tag teams, and as we pay homage to SummerSlam this Saturday. Boom! SummerSlam this Saturday. Gabe's World coming up here. We'll do this at 7:15 for the next matchups. You don't want to miss the tag teams here that we got in this bracket here. That's coming up here. Also, Gabe's World brought to you by Stanford Healthcare.
For the 7th year in a row, Stanford Hospital has been ranked as one of the nation's best by U.S. News & World Report. Thank you to our staff.
Ball is hit well. Deep right center field. Way back there, and adios, Pelota! Two-run homer for Tommy LaStella. And that was a big fly right where the ballpark starts to open up into the Mets bullpen. 2-0 Giants.
Now, back to the Morning Roast, presented by Timeless Coffee with Bonta and Shasky.
John Miller on the call, NBC Sports Bay Area. And that's how the Giants set the tone yesterday at Oracle Park against Marcus Stroman, who pitched pretty damn well for the Mets. They just couldn't get any offense going. Tommy LaStella, another great classic at bat. Always feels like he's in a 2-strike count. 1-2, 2-2, 3-2. Right center field, 415, Shasky.
Oh, it was an incredible at bat. But B, I just can't get over the kid. I can't get over Logan Webb. I mean, I legitimately can't, and I don't think Gabe Kapler can either. Let's hear from your manager, Gabe Kapler.
I think we'll go with a little Bohemian Rhapsody, gentlemen.
Good call. When it comes to Gabe Kapler, anything goes.
First of all, I think pressure is always a good thing. The brightest lights can sometimes bring out the best performance.
Now he's been ejected. Kapler's been ejected by Joe Webb.
Panda costumes and baby giraffes and all of the fans of San Francisco.
Gabe Kapler's 100% right. Kapler launches one. Fair or foul? It's gone! Gabe Kapler has won it!
It's time for Gabe's World.
Well, let's get right into it because the kid goes 7 and I think a third last night. He had a 0 runs, a shutout all the way into the 8th inning, and obviously Pete Alonso broke that bad boy up. But Gabriel Kapler, what'd you think of Logan Webb's performance?
Well, I don't think there's any denying that he's been among the league's best starters, not just ours, but the league's best starters over the last calendar month since he came off the IL, and he's kind of gotten better and better, and today was his most efficient outing to date. Efficiency is the thing that kind of gives you the hope that he can keep doing this, because we all know that the movement and the stuff is there, and it's really just the pounding of the strike zone. And even with the 5th, as I mentioned, I'm going to continue to mention those things because I think it's important to keep raising the bar for Logan. He's that good. I think he responds very well to occasional critical feedback. So I think we need to continue to show him where he can be even better. But just absolute excellence since he's come off the IL.
He's 100% correct, and I think they've done a great job. And it's not just Logan Webb in terms of efficiency. They've done a great job in efficiency in general, whether it's, waiting on a 2-0 pitch like you've talked about, Bonta, whether it's, using the shift, to their advantage. Yep. Like, efficiency is the key to the season. Mm-hmm. But also, when a guy goes on the IL, when a guy gets hurt, when a guy has a setback, doesn't it feel, or maybe they get sent down to the minors, doesn't it feel like they come back completely rejuvenated, and whatever the little tiny flaw was, they've overcorrected it, and then the guy comes back better than ever? That's the hallmark of a great staff.
Yeah, no, you're right, Shasky. And I remember when Logan Webb got rocked in Coors Field on a Wednesday afternoon, early in the season, early. We were both like, man, Logan Webb just... Is he a bullpen guy? Is he a middle reliever?
Right.
Does he have a future on this roster? And since he's come back, like after that game, it feels like he turned a corner. And now it's like, dude, if you don't go 6 innings, I'm disappointed. You know what I'm saying? Like it's become like people are talking about him being a game 1 starter in a playoff series. In a playoff, Logan Webb,
I know.
game 1 starter. And you know what? He just looked confident. He's got a moxie on the mound. He's got some swagger on the mound. And he's just going up there throwing strikes. And he's working quick as well.
Yes.
He's working quick. He's working efficiently. And I love that about him.
When you work quick, you keep the defense engaged. I've told you this before. When you're an infielder, outfielder, it doesn't matter. Like, you fall asleep when a guy just comes to a grinding halt. And one thing about both Logan Webb and Alex Wood, they work quick, and I think that really is to the benefit of the defense that's out there. Bonta, I don't think we've been framing Logan Webb properly, because I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, he's 24 years old.
Yeah.
I think he's the best pitcher since Bumgarner to come through the system.
Wow. I mean,
is that absurd to say out loud?
No, because once Bumgarner came up, you already had Lincecum, you had Cade,
right?
You had Sanchez, you bring back Vogelsong. You really didn't have to bring anybody up. They were waiting on the Ty Blocks and the Tyler Beaties. Didn't quite work out.
God.
So I don't think it's a stretch to say, you know what, he's having he's having the best run for a Giants pitcher through the minor league system since Bumgarner. I don't think it's a stretch at all, especially after 2016 when they went out in free agency and signed Cueto to the big deal. You signed Samardzija to the big deal. You really had nothing else in that minor league system. There's no doubt he's the best pitcher to come through the minor league system since Bumgarner.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
That's me right here.
Oh, I thought I did something. No,
there's a little ladder, a little step. I don't even know what it's for. Maybe somebody's putting their feet on here, but like I've been playing with it the last 3 days, and I got a little happy there like a little kid.
Well, can I just say about Logan Webb too? You mentioned how he works quick. I mean, 2 hours and 27 minutes was the total game time last night. And the way that Marcus Stroman pitches, the dude works so slow until he got to the 6th inning when he was getting to a rhythm. Then he started to work quick and actually keep them off balance. I actually liked that strategy. But he pitched like 120 pitches. Yeah. He took 20 seconds on each pitch. Between pitches 5 and 6, no joke, I got up, managed to get a drink, go to the bathroom, and he still hadn't pitched that 6th pitch yet because he took that much time. Like, if without Logan Webb last night, if there was any other starter, that game could have lasted 3.5 hours, 3 hours 45.
Man, your boy was happy that the game was moving fast. I was able to watch some Hard Knocks too. It was like, all right, cool. We got the game on. We got Hard Knocks going in here. Those night games, man. Monday's game was slow, very slow. Yesterday, it felt like I'm looking at 8:15 and we're already in the 6th inning. I was happy about that.
Yeah, you know where I'm at on this game times when it comes to these baseball games. Marcus Stroman for just a second, you guys. He's 5'8".
I know.
Okay. I always thought, I'm like, man, Pedro Martinez, Lincecum, smaller stature pitchers that were my favorites of all time. And those guys are both 5'11". Now, are they lying about their height? I don't know. Stroman is 5'8". 5'8". I don't think we're giving this dude like enough love here, and that's the beauty of baseball. Dustin Pedroia at 5'7" can be an MVP of the league. Altuve at 5'7" can be an MVP of the league. Stroman at 5'8" can be a really, really, really good pitcher. I don't know, man. Am I the only one that trips off that? Like the fact that he's not a huge dude?
Well, he might not even be 5'8".
He
might be 5'7", and I remember going back to high school, David Keefe, right? We're in the room, we're in the classroom, and he's like writing down everybody's height and weight. So, I get up. Bonta Hill, 6'1", 170. He goes, 6'3".
Oh, that's the Coach Peralta.
195.
Yeah, he did that at Reardon.
They do that in the Bay. Like, you look at the combine, right? Moses Moody. Well, he's 6'4.5" without shoes. But he's 6'6" with the shoes on. You get what I'm saying? There's always some inches added to somebody's height. So, you don't even think about it because he's on the mound and the camera angles and the way the camera makes a pitcher look. Yeah. I always assume they're like 6 feet or whatnot. But Stroman, I've actually seen him on the field. One of the few games I've seen the Blue Jays. When I wanted to see the Blue Jays in town, that's when they had all the boppers, right? Encarnacion, Bautista. I wanted to see BP. And Stroman was out there. Pretty short dude.
Yeah.
Pretty short dude. So he may be 5'7", 5'6", not even 5'8".
So I tower over him, huh?
You may be eye level with him.
That is a lie.
Come on.
That's
you may be eye level with him.
Come on, my man.
Reyes Murata is 5'10". I mean, he's a little bit of a shorter.
Who?
Reyes Murata.
He does not look 5'10".
Because he's big.
Yeah.
Like in terms of
well,
thickness.
I've seen him in person. He doesn't look 5'10".
The only 2 tabs I have open looking up heights is Reyes Murata and Ricardo Rincon. I don't know why I looked that up.
Ricardo Rincon.
I love you, Steven.
Wow. Double R.
When I thought short pitchers, I just immediately went to Ricardo Rincon.
So you're talking about being on the field.
Oh, man.
There was a guy that I got an opportunity one night to get on the field. It was the end of the Dodgers-Giants series, the end of the year, and my uncle Mary Sales, a little bicycle company in South City. My uncle does some, work with a client, and the client had tickets. I don't know if it was UPS, FedEx. I forget exactly who it was. And they're like, we can get you on the field. All right. Well, your boy over there was in heaven when I was on the field. And who was I standing next to, towering over? I felt so big. Rafael Furcal. And I was like, wow, I'm so much bigger than Rafael Furcal, yet his forearms look like Popeye.
Rafael Furcal is one of those dudes. I thought he was going to be a Hall of Famer.
Well, he was a switch-hitting shortstop with a cannon and unbelievable athleticism.
He had the gold chains on, too.
Oh, he was flossy.
He was flossy.
Mike Jones.
Yeah, he was definitely flossy,
Tejada was 5'9"?
Yeah, there's no way Tejada was 5'9".
You know what? He dropped down to 5'5" when Bochy asked him to bunt, and he wouldn't do it.
Right. And he, one guy, he may be, what is he, 50 now? I mean, wasn't even his real name, right? Tejada. He had one of the great years with the Orioles.
I love
my first
Tejada,
ever fantasy baseball team. I always got love for Miguel Tejada.
Whenever someone brings up Tejada, all I think about is Royce Clayton playing Tejada in Moneyball.
Oh my gosh. I forgot all about that.
It's just, I don't know why. Like, of all the people, you picked Royce Clayton to play Tejada?
Royce Clayton, man.
And I love Royce Clayton, but it was just like, something didn't add up for me.
This segment was presented by Golden State Lumber, open from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, with some locations open on a Saturday. Visit GoldenStateLumber.com for more information. We'll continue with our best Bay Area tag teams at 7:15. Let's get into some 49ers. They flew down to L.A. last night to have some joint practices with the L.A. Chargers. Notice I didn't say San Diego. The L.A. Chargers. We'll get into some 49ers football plus some more Giants. And the schedules got released. Well, primetime schedules for the Golden State Warriors. They're playing in L.A. opening night. And on Christmas, they're going to the desert to take on the Suns? Huh? We'll discuss right here on The Roast.
With the help of Cheerios Oat Crunch Almond, I get everyone's morning started with a smile. It has a delicious...
cleaner tomorrow. What's your one thing?
Now, back to the morning roast, presented by Timeless Coffee.
And when you punch us back, we're going to smile at you. And when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off, all right? And we're going to stand up. And then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down, all right? And on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap.
With Bonta and Shasky.
Hey, man, Dan Campbell and the Lions. Trap game.
I'm going to play that rejoiner as many times as I can up until week 1, just as a reminder as to who the Lions head coach is.
Yes, no doubt. And that game, when is that game? September 1st? No, excuse me, September 9th, I believe. September 9th. For some reason here, my computer is tripping here, freezing up. But Lions, Niners, week number 1. Who will be the quarterback? September 12th. September 9th is when the Cowboys take on the Buccaneers on Thursday Night Football. That'll be your opening game. I will be betting heavy on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'll let everybody know that right now. I will be betting heavy on Tom Brady and the Bucs against the Cowboys. I don't like what I see from the Cowboys on Hard Knocks. I don't like Mike McCarthy. That team just, and you talk about a boring Hard Knocks, this may be the most boring Cowboys team ever. Like, ever. I'm actually, after last night's episode, Shasky and Evan, Steven, I almost called you Evan. I actually wanted more Jerry Jones. I'm like, liven this thing up. Give me more Jerry Jones. Let this clown say something stupid so I can rip him. Like, give me more Jerry Jones. It's too much McCarthy. I do like the defensive line coach. He's from England. He played in the World League, which is pretty cool. But Dak and Zeke don't do it for me. They don't do it for me. They're kind of boring.
Zeke's odd.
Zeke is very odd.
Dak is an overachiever. I like Dak. I really do. I like Dak as a person. But, yeah, he's not very interesting, if we were to just put it that way. And the injury thing, like, I feel bad for him, man. That ankle, that whatever and that shoulder and everything that's going on, the elbow, not good. It's not good. But I'm glad to see that you've come around on Jerry Jones.
Well, he's just a clown. But I will watch. If you're going to put on Hard Knocks, you got to let the clowns be the clown.
Of course.
You got to let them run the circus, baby. And Jerry Jones, there wasn't enough of Jerry Jones in episode number 2.
Clowns.
Well, but you know what? He did have his red nose on in episode number 1. He's holding the introductory training camp presser next to McCarthy. And McCarthy's like listening to him. And he's running the show. Then he's standing next to Dak Prescott, 6 feet away, conducting his own presser. Like simultaneously as Dak Prescott's doing it. Give me more Jerry Jones alive in this bad boy up.
So he's 78 years old right now, Jerry Jones.
He looks old. He's getting up there.
He does look old, but like I think as you start to see the end of the tunnel, I feel empathy for Jerry Jones. I know a lot of people just don't like him because I see a lot of, I'm saying specifically my grandfather, but a lot of people's grandpas where it's like you're getting to the end, you want to see them kind of get some of those bucket list things done. Mm-hmm. I'm not a Cowboy fan by any stretch. But a part of me wants the Cowboys to be good just because this is it for Jerry. Like, the way Al Davis went out felt, to me, disproportionate to the amount of good that he did for the league and for that organization. And I feel like we still, a lot of people in the media and whatnot, still hold the Al Davis final 10 to 15 years against him when the body of work 40 to 50 years prior was as good as anyone the game's ever seen.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I mean, think about Langford, how he looks at Al Davis, and a lot of young Raider fans who look at Al Davis and those Raider teams. One playoff berth and since the Super Bowl lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Growing up a Raider fan, like I did not think highly of Al Davis at all until you start to learn about the history and just how much he meant to everything within the NFL. And as you know, you age and mature and you start to respect the elders. But Al Davis, like that was a name that should not be named. Whenever you're talking about the Raiders, especially after Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah, didn't win a Super Bowl since 1983 when they beat the Washington football team. In the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl, they could have met the 49ers, but they got robbed by Washington with the pass interference by Ronnie Lott, of course. But Jerry Jones is there. And, at least the Cowboys have made the playoffs. They have made some noise. And he's beat his chest like an innovator here in the NFL. And I get what he's done for the business of the game. I get what he's done in terms of endorsements and money and all that stuff and stadiums being built. I get all that. But I don't want to see Jerry win. My hate for the... Not even hate. My dislike for the Cowboys and my dislike for Jerry Jones, It runs deep, man. But I hear what you're saying, though, Shasky. I hear what you're saying because he does put a lot of energy into the Dallas Cowboys.
I read a book many years ago about the play that changed two franchises and the history of the NFL, and it was regarding the catch. And at the end of the book, it starts to explain kind of the way Tom Landry went out. And it was really, really, really ugly for Tom Landry because Jerry Jones stepped in and
forced him out
and wanted him out. And
Yep.
it was, I think we have forgotten how big of a hero he was to the state of Texas and Cowboy fans in general for hiring Jimmy Johnson, being as bold as they did, trading the franchise player for a zillion draft picks, cutting all those people. Like Jimmy Johnson did some unbelievable things, but Jerry was the guy who found him and empowered him. And they went from being a family-run business to being a corporation during Jerry Jones. And I just keep thinking about this one line by Harvey Dent in The Dark Knight. You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And that's where Jerry Jones is at this point in his career. And I do honestly feel empathy for him because the sand is coming out of the hourglass. Again, I'm not a Cowboy fan.
What, though?
I'm conflicted here. It's coming out of the hourglass. I would like to see them at least be competitive again to where they're in the playoffs. Like Niners, Cowboys, be just for a second. The Cowboys are coming in to Levi Stadium in the middle of January for a playoff game.
Oh, it's off the chain.
It's
off the chain. It's off the chain. But you know what, though? He became the villain when he forced Jimmy out. Because Jimmy was bigger than him, and Jerry Jones wanted to be the star of the show. That's basically what it was. I don't care what anybody says. Jerry wanted to be the starter of the show, even though Jimmy coached that team. And Jimmy had a hell of a resume for what he did at the University of Miami.
No doubt.
And coaching up those players and winning national championships. And to do that with Dallas and the way he changed the training regimen, the way he ran drills, the way he took chances on players. Jerry wanted that. Jerry wanted to be Jimmy for a long time. And when he fired him, and he got the Fool's Gold there with that championship with Barry Switzer. And it's been just downhill from there for him. He had a cup of coffee with Bill Parcells, the Romo years with Jason Garrett. They were close. But he's been the villain for a long, long time. I don't know if he's ever been a hero. Can you really call Jerry Jones a hero in the state of Texas?
I think at one time he was. And I think with a little more perspective, look, Jimmy Johnson was awesome. He was absolutely awesome. There's no doubt about it. But if you really want to peel it back a little, we give him a lot of credit for the University of Miami. Howard Schellenberger was the one who set things up there and created the Coral Gables pipeline. And then after Jimmy left the Cowboys, he went to the Dolphins and had old man Dan Marino, and he was fighting with old man Dan Marino. And
they made the playoffs, though. They got to the playoffs.
Was it a success in Miami for
of
him?
course not. Dan Marino was old, and they were trying to run the football, and they
both had a really good thing in Dallas going, both him and Jerry, and the egos got in the way. And yes, we can blame Jerry. I agree. I think he takes the brunt of the blame. And that was 26 years ago.
Look, Jimmy, what he did in Miami, and we all watched the U 30 for 30 with Howard Schellenberger, and Jimmy gets the job down in Miami. He took that program to another level. Took that program to another level where it was just people were. Think about how many rules they changed to kind of hinder the University of Miami in terms of taunting, showboating, and the way you could wear your uniform or whatnot. Jerry just, I don't root for people who talk a big game like him. He thought he invented football at one point in time. And he thought, you know what? I could run the team. I can make draft picks. Now, he's made some very good draft picks. He's had some very good sightings. But it hasn't correlated into anything. Leaving head coaches as a head coach for a long time like he did with Jason Garrett. Hiring coordinators back. I think the best thing for an owner to do, which Jed York has done, to his credit, step back and let the personnel guys be personnel guys. Him and his son run the Cowboys. That's not a recipe for success.
I hear everything you're saying. He was very loyal to Jason Garrett. I would say too loyal. I think he overcorrected, right? Because of the Jimmy Johnson thing. He's tried to swing big, getting tuna. The Mike McCarthy hire, just watching it on the Hard Knocks, like you and I was out on Mike McCarthy when he chose Alex Smith and then left the Niners and then became the Aaron Rodgers coach. And I thought that Aaron propped him up for years. I never was a Mike McCarthy fan. And this is just cementing my thoughts on Mike McCarthy. He is a dud. What a dud. I mean, how could you sit in a room with him and feel inspired?
Dude.
Like, he's going to out-coach Kyle Shanahan. Like, I know you have some things on Kyle Shanahan you want to get to today, but we're watching this Hard Knocks. And I love seeing how people are presented. And I saw how Sean McVay was presented just last year. And I was like, man, I'm pretty impressed with Sean McVay. Like, you could quibble with certain things, and maybe he's not your cup of tea. But you can't say that he's not bright.
No, he's bright.
And you can't say that he doesn't work hard.
He's bright. He prepares.
Right.
He loves the game
and
of football.
Forward thinking. And I look at Mike McCarthy, I'm like, damn, dude, you are a dinosaur. Like, he's a fossil from another era.
I'm saying, man, when you're Jerry Jones and you make a hire like that, how is that inspiring a fan base? I mean, Mike McCarthy's going to get outcoached by Joe Judge. He's going to get outcoached by Ron Rivera. In a division, I don't even know the Philadelphia Eagles coach. Hey, that guy.
It's the guy who thinks he's really smart.
Yeah, I know.
But he's not.
Yeah, he's whatever. But Mike McCarthy should not have a job. And you watch the Hard Knocks, and I'm like, oh, my Lord, they're in trouble.
All right?
They're in trouble again. It's kind of laughable, man.
What's crazy to me, and I think this goes back.
That's Jerry Jones, not having a GM, Shasky.
Well, and I look, like, we're talking about the Giants this morning, right? Oh, the Giants. And I still feel like there's a segment of the Bay Area population that's just like, I don't know about these Giants. The Cowboys haven't won forever. I mean, they're still clinging to 2016. That was 5 years ago, okay? That 1 year that they propped up and won 13 games.
Right.
And I'm sitting here and I'm saying to myself, their brand is as strong as ever. Like, Cowboy fans are as diehard and as loyal and as crazy as ever. Like, aren't they? Like, you watch them on the internet and you see if they could be 1-9, and if they rolled into your town and your team was playing them, would there not be a stadium filled with Cowboys fans?
I saw them at Levi Stadium take over half the stadium.
Is that the power? Okay, so then now my question to you is that the power of the NFL? Or is it a combination of the power of the NFL and the Cowboy brand? Or is it just the Cowboy brand? Like, what is it? Because Jerry's got to get some credit for that.
Well, you know what it is. And I was talking to Anna's one of her good friends. And she was saying how, her family moved to America. And they wanted to become part of the American culture. And so they locked on to teams like the Yankees,
point of view.
The Cowboys, the Lakers,
the Americana teams,
the most popular teams. And so this Cowboy brand goes back to the Tom Landry, Roger Staubach.
The invention of TVs in the living room in the 60s and 70s.
America's team.
Absolutely.
Always on national TV. And so you still got and it's generations. Think about Guru, who's a Cowboy fan. He's from Union City. He's from Union City, for crying out loud. Now, I know he has family in Texas, but that brand is so strong that it's still there. It's still the star. It's still America's team, quote unquote. So, and they're always going to be propped up. Think about First Take and all these national shows. The Cowboys have been mediocre forever.
But that shows you how strong the brand is that they're talking about them.
And Jerry Jones, look, give him credit. He's kept the Cowboys relevant despite being mediocre. And I'll give him credit for that, which is why I want more Jerry Jones on Hard Knocks. You need to do something to spice it up. I mean, come on.
You're gonna get that. You're gonna get the intro. It's gonna go like this, okay? You're gonna get Liev Schreiber doing some just cheesy narration where it's gonna be like this, okay? The Cowboys were once America's team. Jerry Jones has made it into the most valued billionaire franchise in the NFL. But now here's his yacht, a big ass yacht. Let's see if the Cowboys can sail their way to a championship.
I love you, Steven. Steven, like, honestly,
that's unbelievable.
That's
unbelievable.
Liev Schreiber, okay, real quick on
Ray Donovan.
Is that the guy who was Wolverine's brother, dude, that he fought in the
Sabretooth?
Yeah, Sabretooth. Yep. I was trying to think what the name was.
Yep.
Correct. Okay. He's the narrator. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And he does Ray Donovan on Showtime.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, he's good, man.
I didn't know that.
That's great stuff.
Steven,
Say that.
You're
that
so
is
talented.
Unbelievable. We're going to get that knock if you hear me. That was the last good Hard Knocks with the Raiders. Say what you want. But Antonio Brown, John Gruden, that was must-see TV. You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM, and HD1 San Francisco and Odyssey Station. We're talking football here and Jerry Jones, but forget about the Cowboys. Cam Benman is going to join us in about 18 minutes here on the roast.
Okay.
He's going to be covering the joint practices down in Costa Mesa where the Chargers train. And there's going to be some joint practices Thursday and Friday before these two teams headbutt each other Sunday at SoFi Stadium. So we'll get our first glimpse of SoFi Stadium. What's going on with the 49ers? We got more practice reports about Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo threw another interception to Fred Warner. I don't know what to make of this, but I do think this week will be the tipping point on where Shanahan goes with the quarterback position. I do think this is when he decides, because there's going to be no Trent Williams. I think that hurts Jimmy more than it hurts Trey.
I'm really worried about this Trent Williams injury. And I know you have some Shanahan thoughts, and I'm really interested to hear them because you kind of teased them to me last night. Trent Williams, they gave a massive contract to, and there was a couple of people that said this is one of the worst contracts we've seen in free agency ever. And I was like, ever? Wow. They're like, 33-year-old guy. He missed an entire year. He, obviously it was a very specific circumstance why he missed that year. And now he's got a left knee injury. We don't know the severity of it. He is up there in age. He is getting paid a ton of money. And if Jimmy Garoppolo is the quarterback, you got to have somebody protecting that left side of the offensive line. Bonta, we don't talk enough about how important it is for this offensive line for any quarterback, but specifically for a pocket-style quarterback who's undersized like Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm very worried.
Ooh.
I'm very worried about this injury, and I hope it's all for naught.
Right.
But this could derail the entire season.
Yeah,
that's how big of an injury this is.
You don't have Trent Williams. Boy, I don't even want to think about life without Trent Williams on this football team. These quarterbacks will be running for their lives. And this is how you can ruin a rookie quarterback. This is how you can ruin a veteran like Jimmy Garoppolo. You need all hands on deck with this offensive line. It's not the strength of this football team. You got an older Alex Mack. Obviously, Trent Williams is a bit older. Laken Tomlinson is getting up there. Anytime you hear Trent Williams goes down, and it's like, damn, here we go again. So he's not going to practice down in L.A., and that's probably the right protocol. Heck, does Trent Williams really need to play in a preseason game? I don't think so. I think he's a veteran. He knows what time it is, but it did worry me. But apparently it's not serious. It's just knee swelling. Let's knock on wood, and hopefully he's only out throughout the preseason, and he's back week 1 against the Detroit Lions, because you got to go against Michael Brockers. Got to go against Trey Flowers. It's not going to be easy. They got some pass rushers in Detroit. Michael Brockers ain't no bum. Trey Flowers ain't no bum.
I feel like Michael Brockers has been there for 25 years.
He just got traded there.
I mean, no, but I'm talking about in the league.
Oh, yeah. He's been there forever, and he's steady.
I mean, he was a Ram forever, it felt like.
He was. Thoughts on Shanahan, though? You ready for this, huh?
I don't know where you're going here with Shanahan.
Probably, but maybe not.
Yeah, so where are you going with this? Because we were talking about the quarterback thing, and it's like, all right, I think people are fatigued on the quarterback thing until we see some more games and whatnot. I mean, talking about practice every single day is probably a tune-out for a lot of people.
Well, you know what? I guarantee you Kyle Shanahan isn't fatigued on the quarterback talk.
Why is that?
Because there's no everybody's not looking at Kyle Shanahan. They're talking about Jimmy and Trey, when maybe we should be looking a little bit more at Kyle Shanahan. I mean, this is the same head coach who's had 1 winning season out of 4. 4 years as a head coach of the 49ers, 1 winning season. This is year number 5. And he has a record of 29-35. 29-35. Now, you take away the 13-3 season, 16-32. 16 games under 500 if you take away that 2019 season, but we're not going to do that. We're going to keep that there. He's 6 games under 500. 1 playoff appearance, 1 winning season. And Shanahan's in a situation to where he's not going to get a lot of the heat this year. And that's why I got to bring the heat to him. Because think about it like this, Shasky. If he starts Trey Lance and the Niners don't make the playoffs, but Trey looks good, it's like, oh, Shanahan, he's got the right guy. He didn't make the playoffs, but he's got the right guy. Trey's a rookie. He's going to get better in year number 2. We're going to have that excuse card in our back pocket all season long. Well, Trey's a rookie. Mm-hmm. Well, Trey's a rookie. We're going to hear that a lot if he does play. Whereas if Garoppolo plays and they say he goes to the wild card game or the second round and they lose, guess who's going to get all the blame? Guess who's going to be the scapegoat just like Super Bowl 54? It's going to be Jimmy Garoppolo. It's going to be Jimmy Garoppolo because we know what the people are going to say. Well, Shanahan, he did what he could with Garoppolo. Garoppolo's just a comparable quarterback, but he's mediocre, doesn't have elite skill. Shanahan needs his guy. Wait till you see him with Trey Lance. Wait till you see Shanahan coach up Trey Lance. So Shanahan this year is basically coaching the 49ers without any pressure. He could miss the playoffs and no heat's going to come his way. He can lose in the playoffs in the second round, and he could botch a play call. He could throw a bad challenge. He could throw the flag out for a bad challenge. He's not going to get any blame. He's going to wash his hands and walk out and be cool in year number 5. And now, look, already 5-1-0. Get off Shanahan. Get off Shanahan. He had all the injuries last year. All right, every team has injuries. He kept Nick Mullins and C.J. Beathard on this roster. Knowing that Jimmy Garoppolo's coming out for torn ACL in 2018, knowing that he's had some injury histories, why not bolster the backup quarterback room? Why? Because Shanahan thought he could win with Nick Mullins and C.J. Beathard. And that was disrespectful to a lot of 49er fans. Shanahan's an arrogant guy. We all concede that. He's confident. He's arrogant. He's cocky. But this year, he's got all this noise about the quarterback position. We haven't talked about Shanahan once. He's walking in to Santa Clara like, we went down to practice and he walked out that practice field. He knows. He was strutting. He knows that I'm in the no-lose situation this season.
All right, so this is a lot of ammunition, man, for you. I'm not going to lie. Look, the numbers speak for themselves, but I think there's context to some of the numbers. Bonta, he started off with an expansion roster. I mean, there was not one player on this team, even DeForest Buckner in real time. Did anyone think that rookie year he was going to be one of the best defensive tackles in the league? Like, they had no weapons. Jeremy Curley was the leading receiver for the 49ers the year prior.
Yep.
All right? They had nothing. And I just want to contextualize this. I don't care how great the coach is. If your quarterback isn't healthy, you're going to struggle. Are there outliers here and there in individual seasons like the Matt Castle year for Bill Belichick? Absolutely there are. But I just want to ask you a couple questions here, and this will be my rebuttal. Do you think Pete Carroll's a great coach?
I do.
Okay. I do too. Do you know what his record was with the New York Jets?
Oh, it was awful.
Yeah, he was 6-10.
Yeah, he got fired.
All right, he didn't have a quarterback. When he was in New England, he was 27-21, and he had a quarterback in Drew Bledsoe, who was really good.
I thought he got fired. I didn't think he deserved to get fired with the Patriots, to be honest with you.
They thought he underperformed. All right, and in Seattle, before Russell Wilson showed up, they went 7-9 and 7-9. Since Russell Wilson's got there, they're 98-44, okay? Like, there is a direct correlation to Pete, who is a great coach and one of the only coaches ever to win at the national college level and at the Super Bowl level. Pete's an all-timer. He needed a quarterback. And if the quarterback isn't there, he struggles. Bill Belichick, another guy, we all agree, right? The dude's great. I mean, right? If he's not the greatest coach of all time, he's right next to that.
He needed Brady.
In Cleveland, okay? In Cleveland, you can make dilutions. They were playoff teams in the 80s, okay? They were rolling through some rough times. He was 36-44, and he had pretty good quarterback play.
Well, he cut Bernie Kosar out of Cleveland.
Which was a very controversial move.
Art Modell moving the team.
Right?
That team sunk.
Again,
no doubt.
36-44 without the quarterback. Obviously, we know what he's done with Tom Brady. He's one of the winningest coaches outside of Don Shula that the NFL has ever seen. Last year, no Tom Brady. He goes 7-9. I don't think it's a coincidence. I really don't. I think there is a direct correlation to when your quarterback, your starting quarterback, is gone and can't play, your team's going to suffer and lose.
I hear you.
I agree with your premise that Kyle Shanahan has taken a lot of the heat off of himself, and now it's going to be Jimmy and Trey. But I would also say he has married himself to Trey Lance and the development of Trey Lance, and their direct path to success is going to be chained together for now until the end of time.
But for this year, Shanahan's going to get the ultimate pass. He can be. Think about this. We could go into next season with Shanahan having missed the playoffs 4 out of 5 years as head coach of the 49ers. And ain't one person out here going to say, you know what, his seat should be hot. His seat. We've come a long way in San Francisco where you get guys like George Seifert win you a couple Super Bowls.
Well, it was different times.
It was different times, no doubt. Mariucci, different times, I get it. Ran out of town. You know what I'm saying? Harbaugh doesn't get the extension. I think Shanahan can be a great coach. But kind of like Farhan, and Farhan's done a lot. Look, Farhan's doing work. But a lot of people have crowned Shanahan as this great coach. When I look down in L.A., and we've had this discussion, Sean McVay's done a lot more. And he took over a bad offense. He's flipped a lot of players.
He's been really good.
He's been really, really good.
Would you grant me this, though? He's been really good. I can't deny how good McVay's been. Didn't he start with a lot more than what Kyle Shanahan started with?
Yeah, but he made a lot of moves.
Who are you betting on for the next 5 years? Because the first 5, I'll give you McVay.
Yeah.
McVay has outperformed Shanahan. But for the next 5, I think I'm taking Shanahan.
Well, they've got an older quarterback. We'll continue to discuss this with Cam Emmon, who's going down to L.A. to cover these joint practices. Plus, we'll take your phone calls, 888-957-9570. More phone calls coming up here on The Roast with Shasky and Bonta.
Don't miss a second of Damon Radowinkowski.
Even my wife has said, "Are you watching that again?" Yes, honey, I have.
elevate a mediocre quarterback. I think a great quarterback can elevate a mediocre coach.
No doubt.
But when you look at like the truly greatest of the greats, right? Like those guys are synonymous. Like think about Roger Staubach, who we were talking about, Tom Landry. I mean, they're synonymous when I think of those two.
And think about Tom Landry couldn't win one Staubach. Danny White couldn't win the big one.
Exactly. So, George, it's a really interesting thing. Johnny Unitas, all I know is that Don Shula was Johnny Unitas' coach at the end. Yep. That's all I know. That's literally all I know. And as great as Don Shula was, he couldn't win the big one with Dan Marino. And Don Shula is one of the greatest coaches. We never talk about Don Shula. He was awesome for like 4 decades, and we never bring him up. That's a really good point. I think that it goes hand in hand, and I go back to someone like Bill Cowher. Bill Cowher was a great coach, needed great quarterback play to finally win a Super Bowl.
And O'Donnell wasn't great.
I mean, throwing those interceptions.
He got $25 million for the New York Jets, baby. Come on. Let's bring it, Cam Mammon, our 95.7 The Game NFL insider, of course, with the Mercury News. And I believe, Cam, you will be traveling down to Costa Mesa to check out the joint practices between the Niners and Chargers. But we'll shelve quarterback, that question there, that topic for a second here. Trent Williams is probably not going down to L.A., huh? What's going on with the big left tackle?
Actually, I believe Trent Williams is down there. You know, when the 49ers posted their pictures, whenever they go on these road trips and flights, they get the glamour shots of guys going up the walkway to the planes and stuff. And Trent Williams was one of them, which is a great sign because that means whatever knee injury he suffered Monday, there wasn't so much swelling that they didn't want him to travel. So that, to me, is encouraging that, okay, this is a good step. And but at the same time, just seeing him walk off the field Monday, it's cause for concern. It's like he was grabbing at his knee, like it got banged or whatever, and he's had issues with the knee in the past. It's just kind of, it's that stark realization that, oh, man, one play and it could change a whole team's fortunes for the season. Now, I don't know if that would be the case if it's just Trent Williams. But, I mean, you look around, like when Nick Bosa went down last year in New York, everybody thought the doom and gloom. We saw it coming, right?
Right.
And Trent Williams is a very valuable guy, obviously. They just paid him as the highest-paid offensive lineman in NFL history and super athletic. And I think the fact that he is athletic and nimble is going to help him get through whatever knee issue this is, because we haven't heard if it's a ligament or anything like that. That's scary. So it sounds like it was just banged up, swelled up a little bit, and hopefully he'll be all right. I mean, we got almost a month to go before the regular season still, so there is time as well.
What about Javon Kinlaw? Shoulder injuries going to be week to week? What's going on with Big Kinlaw, the first-round pick from 2020?
Hey, I think this is actually good news. If you put Kinlaw in there against the Chargers, there's going to be a fight. So, I mean, this guy, he's got the dog mentality. You've seen it out there. I mean, he wants to battle somebody. He's a young guy that's kind of learning his way in the NFL, and they've been taking it easy with him in camp because of a knee issue that he had surgery on in January, and then he had a shoulder issue that's kept him out of practice the last 2 days. But I see him working on the side. He doesn't look like it's an issue. He's not like all braced up or anything. So I think, but he's going into his second year, and he's got to prove himself. And everybody's always going to hold the DeForest Buckner comparison to him because that's kind of essentially what the Niners swapped him for. But he's going to have a pretty good defensive line around him this year as long as Nick Bosa and Dee Ford are healthy. And to this point, they are.
Yeah, that's good to know because I'm a little worried about Bosa. You know, we haven't seen him in any preseasons. I mean, it seems like the guy just suits up and plays like the Ferrari. You only pull him out on Sunday. So, not that I have one, Cam, but
not yet. Not yet.
Yeah, well, I probably never will. My wife wouldn't let me, and we don't really have a garage that's got enough space for that.
And we work on radio, Cam.
I wonder what Bosa drives. I don't know what. I can't see Nick Bosa sliding into. Well, you know, he's a Florida guy, so maybe a Lamborghini. I could see him doing that.
You don't know what car he drives? I mean, they haven't even posted Nick Bosa on their social media accounts.
Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's possible.
It's a joke. Cam, we were having kind of a philosophical question here about quarterbacks, about head coaches, and you know what's more important and who helps who. I think we all agree like they elevate each other. You know, a great coach can elevate a mediocre quarterback and vice versa. And we were getting to talking about McVay and Shanahan specifically. The first 4 years have gone to McVay. I mean, I think he's had a better roster to start with. But if you were to handicap the next 4 years, who's the guy you're putting your money on?
Oh, I put my money on Kyle Shanahan, and I don't know necessarily that McVay's won those first 4 years outright. I mean, Shanahan's beat him the last 4 times straight up, and he hasn't had great quarterback play those times. So that kind of flips that argument and say, look, Shanahan is excellent at scheming things. He knows how to make the most out of his team and find mismatches, right? That helps the quarterback. If you have a franchise-changing quarterback, then that obviously helps everybody out. I mean, it's something that you can look at over time and say, yeah, well, look at New England, right? That Tom Brady leaves and New England falls apart, but there are other issues to it. And I mean, Belichick's still a great coach, but if you have one of those top 5 quarterbacks in the league, it's going to make any coach look good. I mean, look, if you guys have ever coached your kids' youth teams, you know that a lot of it depends on if you need like a 2 or 3 good stars on the team to offset the 2 or 3 bad players that you got to put in the lineup anyhow. And if you have a quarterback that's going to elevate everybody on the team, that's going to make you look good as a coach. Now, then other things emerge that show that you're a tremendous coach. And, Kyle Shanahan here he's mortgaging a lot of his future reputation on Trey Lance, just as, Sean McVay is essentially renting Matthew Stafford right now to see if he could get over whatever issues he had with Jared Goff.
Cam, I don't think you know this, but I hold the record for most CYO championships in San Francisco history for various sports. And my 7th grade D team, in 2020 that won the championship was not the best team in the league. We didn't even have the best player on the court in any single game, and we still found a way to win it all.
Congratulations.
I've got some Belichick qualities too.
Cam, real quick, Cam. I need you to put on your journalistic. Cam, I need you in the offseason to ask your editor for the Mercury News to investigate this, because I'm sure there's a lot of coaches out there basically claiming to have the most CYO championships in San Francisco. I didn't even know Joe Shasky coached till now, Cam.
Oh, that's a lie.
You know what, though? I mean, let's give a shout-out to all the youth coaches, because it takes up a lot of time, but I'm getting to the age where my kids are almost all grown up out of sports, and they fired me as a coach years ago, so that they've learned how to do stuff, but there's a lot of hours that go into being a youth sports coach. I tell you what, it is so rewarding, and it's looking back on it, those are some of the best times of my life when I'm throwing equipment in the truck and making up lineups on the fly and dealing with kids that are crying and have no idea what's going on, and that's where you're a Hall of Fame coach, man. It's not just necessarily the wins and losses.
It's the memories. That's why we play sports. It's not about getting to the next level. It's about having fun and having memories. Cam, I'm a little worried about D'Amico Ryans taking over for Robert Saleh. I mean, I just don't know. I don't know what it's going to look like. And I can't draw any conclusions from a preseason game where you don't want to show anything. Do you think there's going to be a significant drop-off that's noticeable with D'Amico Ryans' defensive schematics?
Well, you said the schematics, right? I mean, the sideline antics are going to be different because he's not going to get all hot and bothered like Robert Saleh would. I mean, but he will show emotion. He's going to get excited. I mean, he's not that far removed from a pretty good playing career. And he's tight with these defenders. He's been coaching Fred Warner and the linebackers the last few years. Very well-liked defensive coordinator. He's not radicalizing the scheme anything too differently. And a lot of the pieces are in place. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. I think it's going to be intriguing to see what little wrinkles he adds. I think when you say wrinkles, everybody just goes, well, Saleh didn't blitz much, so we would assume D'Amico Ryans is going to blitz more. But that, to me, is more out of necessity whether your defensive line is healthy and can get to the quarterback. And that circles back to Nick Bosa, Dee Ford, Samson Ebukam, the guy they brought in from the Rams, to provide pressure off the edge. And none of those guys played against the Chiefs in the preseason opener. The whole starting defense was out. So the Niners aren't going to show what they're going to do until September 12th against Detroit. And they want you to be worried about D'Amico Ryans. They want you to be worried about how they might use Trey Lance. They're not going to tip their hand right now, not with a couple preseason games to go. And I'll tell you what, these next 2 preseason practices, or the next 2 practices against the Chargers, is where we're really going to see some of the best stuff, because it's the last time we're going to see anybody full practices until next summer, but this is their last chance to really evaluate the defense, the defensive line, the quarterbacks, and that's why these joint practices, the coaches love them. Because they can kind of script how they want some things to go, but then there'll also be just open periods where it's just one versus, guys going at each other. The tensions are going to run a little bit higher. So I'm really looking forward to getting down to L.A. and seeing that.
Cam Emmett here on 95.7 The Game on a roast with Butcher and Bonta. Of course, Cam Emmett is our 49ers insider. Of course, been doing big work with the Mercury News for a long time. The big question here that everybody's been talking about, we've been talking about it every day, Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo. Do you think we will get any clarity by the end of this trip in L.A. on who the starting quarterback will be September 12th against Detroit?
You know, Bonta, I think going into this, I mean, Trey Lance has flashed, but he hasn't done enough to overtake and overwhelm Jimmy Garoppolo for that starting job. And we saw that in the game Saturday night where he had a tremendous play with the 80-yard touchdown on his first ever NFL completion, right? But then there were other plays where you go, oh, that's not that good. And look, he's going to have a tremendously bright future. I entered training camp saying this is Jimmy Garoppolo's job 90%. Right now, I'd say it's 80%. The extra factor that maybe that we don't know about is there's still a couple weeks to go where another team's starting quarterback may go down, and that might make Jimmy Garoppolo's trade value enticing to the 49ers, which is not really there yet. And right now, I mean, personally, I really think that they should keep both guys because getting through an NFL season with just one quarterback all the way, it just seems so rare and hard to do. And so this is a team that's built to win at not just the quarterback position, but they have depth there, and I like the idea. They got the money to do it. It's not tearing apart the locker room, and that's something that's, I think, very important here. This is not a divisive issue. Everybody is embracing Trey Lance just as they are embracing Jimmy Garoppolo. Everybody's seeing the positive aspects of it right now, and once that changes, I think that's when you have to make a significant change. And I see the only way they're making a quarterback change is whether Garoppolo gets injured or if he struggles out of the gate.
You know, Cam, you're a longtime Bay Area guy. You have very good perspective, and you understand the history of all these teams. You covered a lot of these guys. We were talking about the best Bay Area tag teams of all time because SummerSlam's this week, and we were just talking about the best duos. You know, Mays McCovey, Curry Thompson, Lincecum Kane. I'll throw some of the Niner ones at you. Montana Rice, Bowman Willis, Young and Rice. I mean, for your money, and it might not be any of the ones that I referenced, what's the greatest tag team in Bay Area history?
Well, you nailed three pretty good ones with the 49ers right there. And, gosh, you know, I did a book about 10, 12 years ago about the best Bay Area sports arguments, and this kind of falls into that. The beauty of it is we've had so many great tandems, so it's almost you can pick whatever flavor you want, if it's basketball, football, baseball. I think I do go back to football because I think NFL is king here. I think the 49ers are the kings, and it's whatever genre you're in. Was it Montana to Rice? Was it Young to Rice? Was it Frank Gore and Joe Staley? Were they a terrific tandem? I liked the Navarro Bowman and Patrick Willis stuff, but that was only a couple of years.
No.
And there was no Super Bowl, and here in the Bay Area, I mean, listen, I'm not a longtime Bay Area guy. I'm a Bay Area native. I grew up in Cupertino, live out here in the East Bay. So I've seen it all, and you have to go back to those 49ers Super Bowl winning teams. Yeah. And, you know, Montana to Rice won a few. Young to Rice won the last one. So I think that's where you go with it.
Good stuff, Cam.
I love it.
Great stuff. Have fun down in L.A. We'll be reading your stuff down there. It's a tangle with the Chargers at a couple joint practices. Should be a lot of fun. And, of course, the game on Sunday. Cam, we will do it. We will do it again soon. Have fun down there. Safe travels. Any food spots? What else is on their itinerary down in L.A.?
The beach.
The beach.
I think it's beach time and get away from the smoke up here in Northern California.
All right, so now you've opened up a wheelhouse for us. Bonta and I have talked sandals, and I said if you're going on a rocky beach terrain and you're carrying a bunch of stuff for the family and you're lugging stuff, you need to get the Tevas because you got to have the ankle support because you don't want to rip up the toes or the back of the feet. What kind of sandals is Cam Inman wearing?
Well, I actually have very good experience on this, and I'm not going to we were at a beach in Italy 2 summers ago, and I had water shoes, but they were like fisherman water shoes from Under Armour that you can wear without socks, and you could swim in them too, and they were perfect for the Pebble Beach. So they weren't Tevas. They weren't my Reef sandals, my Reef flip-flops that I carry around, but they were. And I will tell you what, I wear them out to football practice every once in a while too.
Ooh, let's go.
I got a new pair I finally brought in after a few years, and John Lynch gave him a second look when he saw me yesterday.
Dude, Cam, you're the best. You're the best.
Buddy.
We love you on Instagram, 49ers.cam on Instagram, of course on Twitter, Cam Emmett. Good stuff as always, man. Safe travels.
All right, thanks, boys. See ya.
Cam Emmett, man.
80%.
80%.
So
went from
he
90
said,
to 80.
Yeah, he said Jimmy Garoppolo, 90% at the beginning would be the quarterback week 1. He's down to 80, but that's still, not likely in any scenario. And he referenced kind of some of the, who knows what's going to happen with some of these other teams that might be needing a quarterback. And, yeah, that's just interesting. I agree with the premise that I would like to keep both guys available all year.
Right.
Whether it's one or the other that ends up becoming the starter,
yeah.
I would probably lean or I'd keep them both. But things be happening all across the country.
Yeah, things do be happening. Now, look, we discussed this last week. I'd rather have Jimmy, even if he gets beat out for the job. I want Jimmy as the backup. I don't want to go through last season where you imagine if they trade Jimmy, trades the starter. You got Nate Sudfeld as your backup quarterback. Nate Sudfeld, are you kidding me? Come on, man. By the way, before we get back into the Niners, we got the best Bay Area tag teams, as you just broke it down to Cam Emmett. SummerSlam this Saturday in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium. We had the first side of the bracket here, Montana and Rice versus Canseco and McGuire. Then we had Navarro Bowman and Patrick Willis versus Jeff Kent and Barry Bonds. We'll see where the votes are at right now, but let's queue up our next matchups. We've got 2 more monster matchups. Steph Curry, Kevin Durant versus Joe Thornton and Patrick Marlowe.
Zaza winning that tip. Curry on the go route. Back to Durant. What a play! Little Dave Casper ghost to the post. Lob edition. Oh, man.
Now the change works to their advantage. 2-on-1. Here's Thornton. Marlowe scores! Patrick Marlowe wins it in overtime. Sharks lead the series 3-0.
What a call. What a call. Was that Randy Hahn? What a call.
I thought that was Rizanowski.
Was that Rizanowski? That was Randy Hahn, huh?
Wow.
Man, what a call. They're both great.
Absolutely.
Man, what a call there. Curry Durant, go to Morning Roast 957 to make a vote. And we'll tell you right now, leading the way in the first side of the bracket.
Yeah.
Jeff Kent, Barry Bonds over Bowman and Willis. 55% to 44. And then, of course, Montana Rice dominating the Bash Brothers. Dominating. So we got Curry Durant, Thornton and Marlowe. And then the last side of the bracket, this is a tough one.
I got Curry Durant. I got Curry Durant maybe in the finals.
They may win the whole damn thing.
I mean, man.
That is tough.
And there's some Durant sound that's coming up at 8 o'clock that you absolutely have to hear.
Yes, we'll tease that in a second here. And then the next side of the bracket here, as we fill out the left side of the bracket, Bay Area's best tag team tandem. Chris Muller, Tim Hardaway versus Rick Barry and Nate Thurman.
This is unfair.
3 down in front. Good defense by Hardaway. The ball to Worthy. Worthy dribble drive. He's got a man open. There's a third steal of the game by Mullen. Wrap around pass to Hardaway. Back to Mullen for the score.
Well, again, good defensive rotation by Chris Mullen. He read that play coming all the way.
I would say he's read several. He's got 3 clean steals. And as soon as he stole it, he made a great wraparound pass.
The last thing in the world I would want to do as a coach is wear a suit and tie to coach a basketball game, for God's sake. I mean, they don't do it necessarily in football. You don't have to do it. You don't have to do it in the other major sport. Baseball. In fact, in baseball, you have to wear a baseball uniform, for God's sake. I mean, what is this thing? It's not a fashion show, for Christ's sake. I mean, this is what these coaches got into, all the fashion stuff. So forget that stuff. That's a waste of freaking time.
All right. That's Rick Barry talking on behalf of Rick Barry and Nate Thurman because we couldn't find any sound from them. We have a full bracket out. You can check it out on the Morning Roast 957, a Twitter account. You can also go on 957 The Game. You can see the full bracket. Everyone loves brackets. It's the best Bay Area tag teams. It's in honor of SummerSlam, which is this weekend. If you're a wrestling fan at any level, and I think sports fans in general love brackets. It's kind of a slow time of the year, so we wanted to have some fun. At the top of the left side of this bracket, Montana and Rice are dominating Canseco and McGuire. Dominating them. Just underneath them, you got Bowman and Willis going up against Kent and Bonds.
This is a little closer than I thought it would be.
Oh, okay.
A little closer than I thought it would be.
Okay, well, I'll be very interested. Bowman and Willis hold a special spot in a lot of people's hearts.
They do.
And then as you get to the bottom of this side of the bracket, Curry and Durant, God, what a great duo. Maybe one of the greatest duos in NBA history.
Nobody even talks about it.
I mean, and then you got them going up against Thornton and Marlowe. Had to give the Sharks some love. These are the number 1 and number 2 picks, correct, in the same draft, 97?
Yeah, you can't sleep on Marlowe and Thornton. You can't sleep on these dudes.
And then below them, obviously, Chris Mullin, the guy that you work with on the pre- and post-game show, and Tim Hardaway, who doesn't remember your name from our famous drop, against Rick Barry and Nate Thurman. I'm going to cape up for the old guys. You know I love Mully. You know I do. That's my guy. But I'm going with Rick Barry and Nate Thurman in this bottom bracket matchup. And Curry and Durant, I got them in the Final Four.
This is the toughest matchup. Mullin Hardaway versus Rick Barry and Nate Thurman.
Don't do your boy dirty.
Well, Chris Mullin would tell me Rick Barry is right there. He looked up to Rick Barry.
Of course he did.
And I may be a little biased because I may want to hear more Rick Barry drops with this bracket. I'm not going to lie. I'm not ready to put him away, man. I'm not ready to dust the old guy away, man. And Nate Thurman, rest in peace. He was legendary. Blocking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, sky hooks. Jim Barnett talks about it all the time.
Yeah.
Double machine. He was the enforcer. He was tough. Whew, man, this is tough.
Yeah.
This is tough. I lean Mullin Hardaway.
Mully don't talk about him.
Well, you know what? Since he don't talk about me, I'm going Barry and Thurman. It's just that simple.
One of the things that I think that, we're in the dog days of summer. The Giants are on top of the world right now. They're outstanding. The Niners are going down to training camp with the Chargers, essentially going to do some practices and whatnot. Obviously, the Golden State Warriors are in between in their time, and we're going to hear some Draymond, Kevin Durant sound that's just absolutely incredible. A sit down, almost like Shaq and Kobe.
Yeah, that's coming up at 8 o'clock.
It's the golden age right now, but just trying to put together this list of the best Bay Area tag teams, I am kind of blown away how many great tag teams there are out there. And then I look at the current Giants version, and I'm like, man, we didn't even put Posey and Crawford on here because we don't really look at them like a tandem.
No.
But they're leading this team to the best record in baseball right now. All they do is when they've won 7 consecutive series right now. Wow. 7 consecutive series. This team's a World Series contender. This emerging young ace, the best pitcher in the farm system since Madison Bumgarner and Logan Webb, has unlocked something in himself. I throw my hands up with this current Giants team, and I'm like, I have, of all these different combinations of players that we're throwing out there for the greatest tag team, I can't think of a template for this year's San Francisco Giants. There's nothing that even comes close to how surprised I've been.
I mean, there's no Reggie Jackson on this list. Reggie Jackson, Vida Blue, maybe. Reggie Jackson, Roy Campanella. You got some great tag teams that have left off. This list. It's unbelievable. Mullin, man, this is tough. This is tough. I mean, I'm just thinking about all the combinations of tag teams that we've seen in the Bay Area. Heck, what about T.O. and Jerry Rice?
I mean,
what about T.O. Jerry Rice?
Well, we had that's a good one. We had T.O. and Garcia on the other side of the bracket. You got to give Garcia a little bit of love.
Yeah, Ricky Henderson, Dave Stewart.
I mean,
we don't have Ricky Henderson or Dave Stewart. They didn't make this list. That's how loaded this list is.
Exactly.
707, we're sorry, but it's loaded. Yeah. Ricky Henderson, Dave Stewart. You have. No Frank Gore on this list.
No.
Well, who could you tag him up with?
Well, he was saying Joe Staley. That's what Cam Inman said.
Yeah, that's right. He did say that.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
And
the way I'm looking at this, and Ryan Mauser just texted me, the guy who's working on our YouTube and our Twitch here at 95.7 The Game. He said, this current Giants team, it's not a tag team.
No.
It's a faction. It's the NWO. It is a crew of guys that are coming together right now and just balling out of control. I mean, Longoria, if he could get hot for this team right now, talk about something that I kind of gave up on Longoria coming back and being a factor for this team.
3 for 3 last night.
Are we sure we haven't seen the best of Longoria yet? Because this guy, he was on fire before he got hurt.
He hits his 10th home run last night, and the Giants now join the 1952 squad, the 58 squad, the 87 squad, the 2000 squad, the 2000 squad as the only teams that have at least 9 players hit 10 or more home runs. I mean, that's how special this team has been. I mean, Longoria, it's a trade for the Giants. They just added third baseman who's been out for 2 months. Tommy LaStella. You just added a second baseman who's understated. He's always in a 2-strike count, and he hits the bomb in the first inning yesterday to tell the New York Mets, yeah, it's going to be another long night for you guys. Sorry, 2-run jack first inning. We're going to go ahead and lead this game the entire way. They're 22-8-2 in 3 and 4 game series this year.
What?
Take away
again.
Listen, take away all the 2-game series, like the Arizona series, a quick 2-gamer. Take those away for right now. Just think about the 3 and 4 game series the Giants have played in this season. They're 22-8-2. They've won 22 series and only lost 8 when it comes to the 3 and 4 game sets. Think about that.
That's unreal.
That's insane.
And they've won 7 consecutive series.
It's insane. And it's not like they've just played bubs. I know the Mets are down right now. I know the Diamondbacks are down and the Rockets are down.
Astros,
the Dodgers twice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Going to Milwaukee in what was a playoff preview. I mean, this team is great. This team is great. By the way, Tim Kirchin said this yesterday on DRK. I wanted to play this for you real quick before we pivot off of this. We'll get back to the best Bay Area tag teams and kind of reply to what Cam Emmett had to say about what's going on with the 49ers here. But here's what Tim Kirchin said about Brandon Crawford's MVP chances.
Well, Fernando Tatis Jr. is going to win the award if it ended today. That would be my guess. But Brandon Crawford's going to be in the top 10, certainly. He's certainly going to be in the conversation for the top 5 because you play that position for a team that has the best record in the game, and you do it on both sides of the ball. I would definitely think he's going to get more than, a little consideration for the MVP.
More than a little. But you know what? At least Tim Kirchin is even acknowledging it because he's a national voice. And I do think that that's important. Look, Tatis is so overwhelming in terms of popularity and in terms of them trying to push the narrative that he is the next star. Like, I look at the way the NFL has, put Josh Allen out there the last couple of years. I mean, baseball's even, 5-10 times more aggressive with trying to push for it. And they should. I mean, let's be real. We've ripped baseball for years about trying to market their players. Can we all agree and acknowledge they've done a great job marketing Fernando Tatis Jr.?
Great job.
Right?
Great
and
job.
so as great as Brandon Crawford's year's been, it might go under the radar and he might not get the MVP. And maybe he's not deserving when you contrast it to the body of work, the 33 home runs, the batting average, and the defense, even though Tatis is even a lot to me.
Yeah, he's got over 15 errors.
Yeah, but he gets to a lot of balls.
He does.
That would be my counter to that.
He can't throw the ball away. And the Padres right now are fading.
They are fading.
They are fading. They're 12 games behind the Giants.
Well, and
Padres.
They were a team, I told you, they're very sexy on paper. And like the Rockies, it's hard for me to take you serious when year after year after year I watch and you have all these expectations and you never deliver.
You fall flat.
Right?
You fall flat.
Now, the other thing that I kept thinking about, B, and we're going to get into something fun here in a minute, but I just want you to think about this. I thought 6 months ago, Steph Curry was closer by far than Buster Posey to getting that 4th championship. Right? Getting there with Joe Montana. Maybe I'm the only one that thinks about these things.
Where are you going, Shasky?
I think it's no doubt about it. Buster's the closest to getting that 4th championship.
Well, they're 36 games over 500. They look like the best team in the National League.
Yeah, but why aren't we talking about this? Like, this could be one of those like, if they get a 4th championship with Buster here.
Wow.
With a different manager and a totally different core.
Statues. We're talking statues.
Well, he's going to get one anyway.
Number 28. No, seriously.
But why
it would be no doubter.
Like that?
But because he went away for a year and he struggled for 3 straight seasons.
Okay.
And we thought he was done. I think a lot of people are just in awe, like, wait a minute here. This guy's batted over 300 in basically every month of the season, except for one, I believe it was May, where he batted 288. And it's not flashy. Like Steph Curry, he's flashy. He does every interview. You see him on the golf course. He's got all the threes. You see him in the All-Star games. He's having fun. He's dancing.
Yeah.
He's Steph. He has that effect. Buster's just quiet. He's a quiet dude. He just goes about his business, goes home with his family. Yeah, you see him in a few commercials there. You see some of the personality, but he's not as outspoken as Stephen Curry. And I think we just kind of forgot about him. With him not playing in the bubble, we thought, man, is this guy done? Heck, we were discussing last year at this time whether or not you trade Buster Posey away to open up the catcher spot for Joey Bart.
B, you're right.
I mean, we were talking about trading this guy, and we didn't even bat an eye.
No, you're right. I didn't think he had anything left. and it's one of the great career rejuvenations I've ever seen. I can't think of another one that comes close in terms of like dead in the water for multiple years, massive injury. It's like, Bowman, right? When Bowman hurt himself, it was like, God, I love you. We've seen the best of you. I feel so bad. Like, we love you. You gave your body to this team and to the sport. It's over, right? Like, and it was done. Buster Posey, I thought was over. And this has been unbelievable. And B, if he gets that 4th championship, he's no doubt about it, a Hall of Famer. He is going to cement. If they can make noise in this playoffs, he's going to. All the Hall of Fame, 2 more years, 4 more years. No. He will be a lock.
No, it feels like a lock right now.
It doesn't it?
It does feel like a lock right now. And I've written articles for the Examiner about how he's not a Hall of Famer because you look at the body. Think about it. Think about what happened to Buster Posey. After 2016, where he batted 288, he had 14 jacks and 80 RBIs. Next season, he has 12 home runs, 67 RBIs, batted 320, but the power just dissipated in the second half of the season. Then in 2018, he's an all-star, but he only hits 5 jacks, 41 RBIs, and bats 284. And then the next season, he bats 257, has the bad hip, only 7 home runs. Then he opts out last season. Then you think about some of the postseason numbers. Like Posey in LCS in 2010, 217 batting average. NLDS in 2012, 212 batting average. NLCS in 2012 against the Cardinals, batted 154, Shasky, 154. In LCS in 2014 against the Cardinals, batted 200. World Series against the Royals, where he wore down, batted 154. Yes, he's got the Matt Latos Grand Slam in Cincinnati, game number 5. We all remember that. We remember the home run in Game 5 against the Detroit Tigers where he's running down the first base line with the number 1 finger, throwing up the 1. But other than that, how many postseason moments has he had other than the Buster hug at the end of those World Series runs? If he has a monster postseason to follow up this regular season, there's no doubt he's walking into the Hall of Fame.
All right, so yesterday, you were talking about, I'm going to pivot here just out of nowhere because I want to have some fun.
Okay.
We were supposed to do Food with Butcher right now. I told you we were going to do Food with Butcher.
I apologize.
No, it's okay because I'm going to throw you a curveball. I've created a new segment, and it's because of your lack of Disney movie knowledge.
Oh, wow.
Hit me with the open, Steven. I kind of liked it.
He's an absolute fool. I guess you got to stick out when you're Brandon Nemo, Subway, right?
Finding Nemo.
You got to stick out in Subway.
Have you seen that movie yet?
I have not seen Finding Nemo.
From the maker of, he hasn't seen Finding Nemo, but he has seen a couple of Disney movies. This is Disney with Dad.
And now we are going to play a little game show, all right? I'm going to be the host. Bonta, you are going to be the contestant. Steven and Curly are going to be there. They're not going to help you, but we're going to laugh. We're going to have fun. You are a newly minted father. You've got a daughter. You've got Disney Plus now, and you need to know some of these classic movies from back in the day. We're going to start with the highest grossing, proportionately, movie of all time, the number 1 rated Disney movie ever. Lion King. Are you ready? Have you seen Lion King?
I have seen Lion King.
Okay.
I have seen Lion King.
I'm going to ask you multiple choice questions here. Okay? And if you can get 3 or more of them right, you win.
Okay, let's go.
All right?
Let's go.
Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
All right, let's start up to the beginning. The first question, number 1. Who was the main villain? Was it Nala or was it Scar?
Oh, a Scar for sure.
Boom!
Scar for sure.
1-0. All
go.
right. We're doing Disney with Dad. The new dad, Bonta Hill, who didn't have a lot of time to watch a lot of these movies growing up. And we are going to pepper him with Disney questions to see if he really did watch these movies or not. All right?
Number 2.
Number 2. We all know that Simba, no, not the returner for the 49ers, was one of the main characters in the movie. But do you remember who his friends are? And I'm going to give you the pair of friends, and you tell me which one they are. Was it Timon and Pumbaa, or was it Zazu and Rumba?
Oh, it's Pumbaa, Timon and Pumbaa. Those was his boys.
Wow.
That was his crew.
Okay.
Told you I watched The Lion King.
Full disclosure, are we surprised?
Not yet. I'll be surprised if you get 3, 4, and 5.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
We're throwing you some softballs here.
Okay.
This is like transitioning from a Rich Hill 88 mile an hour fastball to a sinker from Marcus Stroman.
Okay, here we go. Number 3 on our Lion King Disney with Dad game show with Bonta Hill. Number 3.
Number 3.
Mufasa, Simba's father, was voiced by a famous actor. Was that actor Morgan Freeman, or was it James Earl Jones?
Morgan Freeman. It was Morgan Freeman. Oh, it's James Earl Jones.
It's James Earl
Jones. Are you kidding me? Oh,
Darth
my
Vader.
gosh. Oh, man, it was James Earl.
He was so confident.
Oh, my
in his
gosh.
response. Okay, let's get to
man.
number 4. We got to wrap this up real quick because Draymond and Durant did some crazy sit-down. I can't wait to hear the sound.
Number 4.
Okay, the Circle of Life song, the one that we were hearing earlier.
Yep.
500,000 copies or more. It went gold.
Wow.
Was it written and sung by Paul McCartney or Elton John?
Oh, snap. This is so tough. Oh, man, you know what? I think it was Elton John. Yeah! Elton John, baby. It sounds like something Elton John would do. It doesn't sound like this is in Paul McCartney. This ain't his lane, Paul McCartney.
So Bonta wins, but we're going to ask him the 5th question anyway just to have fun. We're going to figure out we're going to do this every single week with classic Disney movies. This is great. All right. The phrase, number 5, the phrase Hakuna Matata was the very big
Matata.
Phrase.
Yeah. Hakuna Matata. Hakuna Matata. Yeah, that was a great song. I don't know the other words.
I was just going to say, does Hakuna Matata mean no worries, no problem? Or it's all good, I'll see you later?
No worries, no problem. No worries, no problem. I told you I watched Lion King. I watched the cartoon and the remake a couple years ago with Beyonce. Lion King. I should have got that James Earl Jones. That's gonna bug me though.
I knew Morgan Freeman. I knew Morgan Freeman would lure him in.
You know, I've been watching a lot of Batman, Dark Knight, and Morgan Freeman, Lucius Fox. Yes, I've been watching a lot of that, man. Morgan Freeman has been on my tube a lot.
Can we agree? Was that segment fun? Did you like that?
I did enjoy that segment.
Okay.
I did.
And now
I
that you're a new father, you're going to be able to see all of these classic movies. I was going to start with Fantasia, which is like the original. Gosh. There's no way you would have nailed any Fantasia.
I don't think I. Damn,
You've never seen Fantasia.
I never seen Fantasia.
That would have been lost on me too. I'm not gonna lie to you. I haven't seen Fantasia.
Hey, it's an acid trip.
Little Mermaid.
Okay,
I've seen that.
All right.
I've seen Aladdin.
Okay.
Beauty and the Beast is one of my favorites.
Oh,
man. I
is
ain't
it?
gonna lie.
Okay, then we might do that next.
No, I don't know, man. It's been a while. I need to brush up on that one.
Yeah,
I need to brush up on that one.
I'm not gonna lie here because you're very, very smart when it comes to sports. You remember every little detail. Your movie and pop culture knowledge, it's got some holes in the game.
It's got a couple flaws.
I love you. Know? I'm glad that you leaned into this.
A couple flaws here.
Did you see this one coming?
I did not see this curve. That was a hell of a curveball. It was in the dirt and it hit me in the inner thigh.
Face, I love that he loves it. He's so happy right now.
He's so happy.
I love it.
Oh, man, this is great stuff. Darrell Wright at 8:15. Warriors schedule was released. We'll ask Darrell Wright what he's seen from the young Warriors. And Kevin Durant, Draymond Green sound.
Oh, I can't
They had
wait.
a sit-down one-on-one as this segment was presented by Golden State Lumber, open from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, with some locations open on a Saturday. Visit GoldenStateLumber.com for more information.
Listening to Damon, Ratto, and Kolsky is easier than ever.
Yay! The debut of Trey Lance. I know it's something you were waiting for, Ray, and it's finally happened. So congratulations.
Ooh-wee. He looked like a rookie. All the good stuff, all the bad stuff, and that was exactly.
Charmin Ultra Strong just cleans better. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Hey, it's Dan Dibley from Steiny Guru and Dibs, and you're listening to KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco, an Odyssey station.
It's time to wake up with a nice cup of morning roast. Featuring Bonta Shasky and Joe Shasky. Presented by Timeless Coffee. This is the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game.
It's obvious his parents were a big fan of the Disney classic The Lion King, and I kind of was too. So, Sylvania, Mama Chihuahua. I'm so psyched for this. All right. Sylvania, Mama Chihuahua.
What?
That wasn't good enough. You gotta do it. That wasn't good enough. I gotta do it again. That wasn't strong. All right. Sylvania, Mama Chihuahua.
What language is that?
Dude. So you know what that's from, right?
I don't know, Sir Elton Bonta Hill.
So we just did the multiple choice of Lion King, and welcome everybody to the Morning Roast, the 8 o'clock hour. Darrell Wright will join us in 13 minutes. We're going to talk some Warriors here. Draymond and KD, you don't want to miss what they had to say to each other in a one-on-one sit-down. So when I used to work at Fox Sports Yard Barker,
okay,
my guy Eddie Meisenet, editor now, NBA editor now for ESPN.com, we would do these videos, and we took college football players who were named after like these animation characters or whatnot. So this player who I don't even remember, but he was Simba something, Simba whatever, in his last name. And so they were like, so once you announce this guy's name, like, hey, number 3, this guy Simba whoever, and they're like, you should do the Lion King play. And so the Sylvania, Mama Chihuahua, and it took me about 16 minutes to nail it.
Can we play just the beginning of Bonta doing the Serena and then the beginning of the real song with Elton John and the real words of whatever they said? Because that didn't sound anything like the beginning.
It was a rough ride. Sylvania, Mama Chihuahua.
Steven, you were on fire today. I love you.
And in the video, you can see me. I'm like raising my head, my arms
holding up the baby like you're Michael Jackson over the balcony.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it took about 7
The lack of confidence in the beginning when you tried it out is just astounding.
It's obvious his parents were a big fan of the Disney classic The Lion King, and I kind of was too. So, Sylvania, Mama Chihuahua.
I now imagining you just leaking oil like a leaky car, just an oil pan all on the floor, and you're just leaking confidence everywhere as you're trying to sing an Elton John song. You know what? I love you for doing that.
Dude, it took us about 16 minutes to nail that take.
Oh.
And it was rough.
Oh.
It was rough.
It's about as long as you watched The Lion King for, too.
Before I fell asleep on it?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I was surprised that you got that many right,
Dude,
to be totally
my
honest
guy
with you.
Eddie nailed it. He was like so confident in it. He did it. And I was like, why don't you just do the damn bit? He's like, no, you got to do the bit. So there you go. Sylvania, Mama Chihuahua.
Right there. The part after he gets past the Serena, it's just done. He's just absolutely
it's
done.
Absolutely
Mama
done.
Chihuahua.
What am I doing?
You're the Pat Beverly of singing. That's what you are right there. The next 5 years are mine.
I have this great singing voice. I can win some Grammys here.
Oh,
all right, man. 888-957-957
out there like that.
0. Yeah, I embarrass myself for the cause. The Warriors, we know a few games are going to play next season. A few games came out. We know opening night in L.A. at Staples Center. That'd be a lot of fun, October 19th against Russell Westbrook, LeBron James.
The Lakers.
AD, the Lakers. Warriors, Lakers at Staples. Then 2 days later at Chase Center, the home opener against the L.A. Clippers. And then Christmas Day, 2 p.m., which I'm going to get into that in just a second. Christmas Day, 2 p.m., the Warriors will visit the reigning Western Conference champion, Phoenix Suns.
Wow. I'm excited for these ones. Christmas Day basketball.
2 p.m. at that.
Well, I'll be real with you. I wasn't huge on the 9 p.m. back when they weren't as good. There's the core years when they were the dynasty and they would get that 5 or 7 p.m. start. They had, I think one was an 11 o'clock Cleveland start one year.
Yes, 11 a.m.
I hated that one.
Yep.
I hate the midday Christmas matchup.
2 p.m.
I prefer the nighttime one. I prefer the late evening one. I understand it from a television national perspective.
Right.
You want to kind of, put some of the lesser known teams in the back end of that schedule. But Christmas Day basketball, to me, is something that, 25 years ago, I wasn't as high on where I'm at now. Now I live for these games.
I love Christmas Day
They're great
hoops.
games.
Yeah, I love Christmas Day hoops. You get the Brooklyn Nets and L.A. Lakers at 5 p.m. They have the 5 p.m. slot.
Don't forget that 9 a.m. Knicks start.
Oh, yeah,
that
Knicks
I get to
and
sleep
Hawks.
Through.
Yeah, Knicks and Hawks. Now, this is where being a new father, and even when I wasn't a father, having the 2 p.m. games, because I would go cover the Christmas Day games. They suck. 2 p.m. starts suck. I'm not going to lie. Because even if you go to the arena, for example, you got to be there by like 10:30, 11, right? 11. All right, so you don't get that morning with your family. And then the game goes until about 4:30. You're doing post-game stuff. You're not getting home till 7 o'clock. So you miss Christmas. And now being a new father, pre- and post-game show, got to be there, probably be there at 12 o'clock. We're on the air. We're on the air. Like, it's just... It's early. It's just right smack. Like, I would prefer that 5 p.m. start. If it was 5 p.m., it'd be great, right?
Yeah, so here's what I'm thinking. Just let me fill in for you on that day.
You ready to just lead a family on Christmas Day?
I mean, it's a one-time. My dad worked on Christmas Day every year growing up. You know why? Because that was triple pay.
Yeah, no.
All right. So my dad always worked on Christmas Day. I love my dad. He was always there for us. But he worked on Christmas Day because he wanted to get that extra cheddar, and I don't knock him for it. That's how we had, a lot of little extra things in life. So I understand everything that you're saying, and believe me, I totally get it. Yeah. And that's what I'm telling you. I will step in, and I'll bear that cross for you.
Come on, doggy.
On Christmas Day.
We were talking, and I were discussing this last night. I will just we're just going to celebrate Christmas on Christmas Eve.
Oh, you're going to be one of those families.
Be one of those families. We'll wake up early. We'll, unwrap the gifts, and then I'll go on about my business and be in the studio with Willie and D. Wright on Christmas. We worked last year at Christmas. It worked out.
Yeah. What was it last year? I can't remember. Oh, it was
Bucks when they got blown out in Milwaukee.
That's right. Yeah, and that was a daytime game, correct?
Yeah, that was 11 a.m.
11, gosh.
11 a.m. Now this is 2 p.m. in the Valley of the Sun.
Yeah.
Warriors Suns. So.
Well, and if you go like anywhere, because I don't know about you, like what we do in our family, because everybody lives here in the immediate Bay Area, is we do the gauntlet on Christmas Day. So, in the morning, we're chilling at the house, but my wife's mother usually comes over. We open a couple gifts there, and then we go over to my wife's side of the family. Christmas Eve is my mom and dad's side of the family. We do that whole thing. And so Christmas tends to be a gauntlet for us in our family. So you got to have the sports games on in the background all day. I mean, and that's where I miss some of the lesser bowl games because it gave me something to switch to.
Oh, yeah. The Aloha Bowl always came out at Christmas. Yeah. Remember that? Old Aloha Bowl?
Of course.
Oh, man. Games on all day on Christmas.
Little June Jones on my television.
Exactly. Now, we're going to get Darrell right on in 6 minutes, and we'll discuss a little KD and Draymond Green. They sat down via Bleacher Report, had a one-on-one sit-down. And Draymond asked him a lot of questions here. Now, 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, Draymond joined the All the Smoke podcast. All the Smoke podcast, because remember what went down with KD and Draymond Green, that fateful night at Staples Center against the Clippers. They got into it. And here's what Draymond Green, he kind of detailed that night before we get into what they said yesterday.
When that happened, they were like, kept telling me like, yo, you need to apologize. And I'm like, I'm not apologizing. Like, he 1 foot in and 1 foot out. I meant what I said. I'm apologizing for something I meant to say. I'm not apologizing. So after an hour and 45 minutes, they like, you go home, you meet us in the morning, you sleep on it, maybe you'll feel different. And we meet, and they like, so you gonna apologize? And I'm like, I'm not apologizing. Like, so then Steve tell me, like, all right, well, we're going to suspend you for tonight's game. We played the Hawks that night. We was on the back-to-back. We're going to suspend you for tonight's game. So Bob said it. I start laughing. And he's like, well, that's not the response I expected you to have. I'm like, well, I feel like y'all suspended me to try to save Kevin. You know what I'm saying? To try to, like, make him feel good. Because that's I ain't never seen no player get suspended for arguing with another player.
So I watched, that entire All the Smoke podcast when it came out because, of course, when Draymond joined Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes, like I gotta watch that. But when I'm seeing the trailer for Draymond and KD in this interview, and we'll have all the sound for you. The interview just got released, and you don't have to go watch it. You can hear it right here on 95.7 with the Morning Roast. But with Draymond asking these questions, isn't he putting himself into a little bit of hot water with Warrior fans if maybe KD has an answer that, Warrior fans are like, wow, okay, so that's what really happened in that whole situation? Like, Draymond could be putting himself in a weird spot after this interview if it goes wrong, depending on what KD says.
I think you make a lot of good points right there. There is a certain segment of the Warrior fan base that is part of, Beyonce has a hive.
Right. The Bay Hive.
It's basically like
don't want to mess with them.
A collection of people. How would you even describe a hive?
It's a cult following. Okay. Like if you talk about Beyonce, they will tag your page or they will find you and they will put bees all in your comments. They will comment with nothing but bees. Okay. And you'll wake up in the morning being, I got a lot of notifications on Instagram. My page is hot today, and it's nothing but bees on there because the Bay Hive is after you. You can't say anything about Beyonce.
Okay. And Steph clearly has his own hive, which is very powerful. There's a Draymond hive out there. And Bonta, you can't say anything about Draymond Green. Ever. You can't be critical at any single turn. These people are coming after you.
Yes.
I'm just being honest. He walks on water with a certain segment. Then there's another side of the Draymond equation where I think people see both sides of him, which is he's very complicated. He's a winning player. He drives you nuts with some of the stuff. And this is the area where I fall in the middle in between, I recognize how great he is to the team. Right. I recognize how he does things that are so incredible, that are hard to find from anyone else in the league. But I also think he's a gigantic headache simultaneously. Ooh. And when he says, I'm not going to apologize, you know how many times in my life I've had to apologize knowing damn well that I shouldn't, knowing damn well that I was in the right and that other person was in the wrong. But you know what? For the greater good of the relationship, or maybe for the greater good of the work situation or the family dynamic, or whatever it is, the learning dynamic, I have said I have to be the bigger man, or I have to be the person who comes to the table to hand out the olive branch. That's part of being diplomatic in any relationship, marriage, friendship, family, work, name whatever relationship that you want. B, you and I are very, very close. Right. Very close. Yep. And there's times you want to kill me.
Yep, no doubt.
Right? And you know what you do? Sometimes you just tell me. The other day I came in here, I was amped. I drank way too much coffee. And you're like, dude, dial it down. And you were very serious, and you looked at me and you said it. And I knew, oh man, I'm really hyped up right now. But I needed to hear it. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I think at times Draymond doesn't even allow anyone to give him any criticism, and he doesn't receive it properly. He doesn't reflect on it. He's so stubborn, and that's one of his greatest character attributes. It's also one of his greatest flaws.
You made a great point before the show, because we're talking about Draymond after his career, right? You're like, who was that said that T.O., Uncle Gary said
Gary
once
Radnich
the jersey is off, and once he moves on with football, he's going to have a tough time adjusting to reality. And you said maybe Draymond. And I was like, you know what? I think he's got the TV gig in the bag. Clutch Sports. He could be a coach. He could be a GM. He's won the championships. He's made a lot of money.
Of course.
He's been smart with this money. But then you also brought up, the great thing about Charles Barkley is you can get on Charles Barkley and he laughs it off. He doesn't get bothered by it. Will Draymond Green be able to do that once he's on television? If you joke around with Draymond, hey, I don't like those jorts you're wearing. I don't like that suit you got on. Will he be able to laugh that off? Or will he be stubborn like he is on IG saying, hey, Warriors page, you're not posting me enough on IG. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of wild here. So, and I'm with you there where at this station, we've apologized for things that we were completely innocent about. But you got to do it sometimes for the greater good of the station. So Draymond's a trip, man.
He is a trip.
I love him, but he's a trip.
He's a force. Look, I've been called this many times in lots of different settings. We were sitting in the stands watching a high school football game. One of my old basketball coaches was sitting there, and one of the kids that I was coaching was like, "Who is he like as a basketball player?" He's like, "You ever heard of this guy Draymond Green?" That was Joe. He was on the edge of driving everyone insane at every single turn, and he wasn't just talking about sports. He was just talking about my demeanor and the way I'm at. I understand that I run really, really hot, and I'm going to rub people the wrong way. I think for me, what happens and what I think where I'm a little different from Draymond is that I'll reflect, I'll take a nap, I'll sleep on it, I'll come back the next day feeling very, very, very guilty about something, and then I'll try to overcorrect it. Not all the time, but that's what I'll try to do. I'm not sure Draymond Green ever thinks he's ever been wrong at any single turn, and I don't think he does a lot of self-reflecting in terms of hearing the criticism and then finding a way to apply it the next day. Like, to me, I think that he really thinks like he's Homer Simpson in that vision. I don't know if you ever watched The Simpsons, when he's having a vision of a recollection that happened, and it was him with jacked arms, and he's answering the phone. He's got a full head of hair. It's like, Homer, that's not how it went down, okay? That's not how it went down. And I think at times that's the way Draymond is.
All right, let's spice some things up here with our man Darrell, right? We will get him an open before basketball season starts. We got Fleming an open. It took us about 4 months. We made it happen. We will have an intro.
Should we give him the Lion King intro? And Darrell, have you seen Lion King?
One.
Have I seen Lion King? Yes, I have. Millions of times.
That's what I'm saying. Bonta said he'd never seen Finding Nemo yesterday, so I created a new segment since he's a new father. It's called Disney with Dad, and we're going to go through some of the classic Disney movies of all time. Tell me you've seen Finding Nemo.
I have seen Finding Nemo.
Damn.
Told you, B. And it's good, right, Darrell?
For a long time, man.
Yeah, see, Darrell's got 2 kids, but he's got one going to the 8th grade. Like, you know, I got an 8-month-old. You know what I'm saying? Darrell's had to he's had to go see the Disney movies, man. He's had to see them.
Bonta, if I didn't have a 14-year-old, I probably wouldn't have seen Finding Nemo as well.
Yeah, no, I heard it's a great movie. I'm looking forward to it. I am. When Baby Chaz gets a little older. Darrell, right here on the Morning Roast, as he will be every single week during basketball season. And look, this KD Draymond thing is going to come out soon, so we'll hear what they're talking about here. Before we get to that, though, the schedule was released yesterday. We see the Warriors playing your buddy Russell Westbrook in the first game against the Lakers. That's going to be spicy. Clippers in a home opener, and of course the Phoenix Suns on Christmas Day. So let me ask you, as a former NBA player, D, you guys wait for this release schedule? Because like the NFL makes a big deal of it. They create an entire show around it. The schedule release. Where are the Niners going to play the Cowboys? When are they going to play the Cowboys? How do players feel about the schedule release? Are you guys waiting for that Christmas Day slate, that opening night slate?
Oh, yeah. You always run to the schedule and see. You always want to know when you play on opening night, if you have a Christmas game, and if you play on your birthday. And potentially where will we be at on the last game? So I think those are always fun days when the schedule comes out. And DeLon texted me right away. He was like, "Man, finally I get to play on Christmas." So
that's right. He's played in the Garden.
Cool.
He's played in the Garden on Christmas.
Cool right there.
That is
his first time.
Yeah, that is pretty cool for DeLon, playing for their Atlanta Hawks playoff team at that, going to the Eastern Conference Finals, taking on the New York Knicks. You mentioned birthday though. So what happens if, say, you had a game in Oklahoma City on your birthday? Are you guys like, you know what, let's not even do anything, it's Oklahoma City? Or you're like, you know what, we could go to the local bowling alley? What is it? What's the ideal spot to play at on your birthday?
Man, you know, places like, I don't know if you ever heard of this place, like Miami, Toronto, L.A., you know, places like that. Houston, those are cool places to play on your birthday for sure.
You know, Darrell, I'm looking at all this stuff that's coming out on the internet right now with Draymond and Durant. I'd go back to the Kobe and Shaq stuff. When other guys are around the league talking to each other, what do you hear about the relationship between Draymond Green and Kevin Durant?
To be honest with you don't hear anything. You know, those guys want to battle. You know, they're friends. You know, they were teammates. I know they had a few, you know, times where they bumped heads, but I think that's part of the game. It's just that they were the Warriors. You know, they had a lot of spotlight on them at that time, but I don't think nobody really, you know, looks too far into it, man. You know, those are two competitive guys, two guys that, you know, going to leave it out there on the line each and every night. And that's part of the game. That happens. You know, I got a chance to see D-Wade and GP go at it one time. And the whole world saw that, but it was nothing. It was just that competitive nature coming out, and two alpha males want to see each other do the right thing and win a championship.
Well, take me through that Gary Payton and Dwayne Wade situation. Like, what happened, I guess, in front of everyone, and then what was the fallout behind the scenes, and how they got over it?
No, you know, it was just on the court. Somebody probably missed an assignment. GP got on D-Wade. D-Wade got on GP. At the end of the game, we ended up winning, and it was all good. You know what I mean? We moved on. But that, like I said, that's part of the game. You know, guys are going to get into it. Guys are going to, you know, bump heads. But it's nothing personal. It's all business, man. We're just trying to get a win, and we want the best. You want everybody to bring their best every night.
That's interesting. Darrell right here on the Morning Roast with Bonta and Butcher on 95.7 The Game, former Golden State Warrior, also an NBA champ with the Miami Heat. I remember when GP got into it with D-Wade. You guys ended up winning the championship that year against the Dallas Mavericks, so it did work out in the end. Do you think this Draymond KD thing is just lingering a little too long? I mean, it's happened now 3 years ago. I mean, you know what I'm saying? KD's now in Brooklyn. Draymond's still here with the Golden State Warriors. It's a new cast of characters. How do play, like, does this stuff linger too much because of social media, or is it their own undoing?
I think it's them, you know, just getting something straight and letting the people know what it really was. I think it only makes sense because they're not teammates anymore. If they were on the same team, you'd be like, yo, bro, why are we talking about this? But, you know, it's something a lot of people want to know. And that's the world we live in, a social media world. People just want to know all the info, so they're giving the people what they want. It has been a long time, but I only think this works because they're not teammates anymore.
Got it. What do you think of the new cast of characters? I don't know if you checked out any Summer League. Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody. Kuminga, man, he's got a lot of talent. He'll do some things that'll make you scratch your head, but you got to remember he's only 18 years old. I kind of like these picks. Have you seen any of these guys in Summer League? What do you think of them so far?
Oh, yeah, I've been high on Kuminga from day one. My boy, Bobby Brown, had an opportunity to play with him this past year. He spoke highly of him, just his aggressiveness, his competitive nature, him attacking the basket, his athleticism. So I've been high on him just from hearing my boy talk about him over and over. And Moody, you know, another guy I really didn't know nothing about in college, but when I saw, like, the highlights of him in high school, I kind of remembered him. But those are two young dudes that I think they'll be able to get some minutes down the line and really can help this team, you know, and in the future too. So I was super impressed with both of those guys. I thought they had a good summer league, you know, and like you said, Kuminga's pretty young, man. You know, he's going to take some shots where you're like, ooh, not that one. But get around those vets. Once he get coached by, you know, Coach Kerr and all those guys, he'll have a better understanding what's a good shot and a bad shot. Because that's something when I came in the league, I had to learn, especially being a man for so long and taking crazy shots. It was like, yo, young fella, that's not rolling here.
Oh, I love it. We put out a bracket this morning, and we're kind of going over some of the greatest duos, the greatest tag teams in Bay Area sports history, because you got SummerSlam this week, and we just want to do something fun. And the Warriors have a bunch of them, but I just want to, like, dive into KD and Steph, because obviously Draymond and Durant are going to be all over everybody's timelines today because of the interview. But I feel like it's overshadowed, you know, just the ending and how it went down. It's overshadowed how great those two were. I mean, Darrell, you've been watching the game a long time. Where does that duo stack up in the terms of greatest duos in NBA history?
Oh, man, they got to be top three. They got to be top three. And what I'm really thinking about is like a Scottie, MJ, Kobe, Shaq, and those two.
Wow. Burt, McHale. I mean,
am I tripping?
No. You know what, though? You know what, Darrell?
LeBron and Dwayne Wade, I would throw on there, too. They were so sick.
They were sick. You could do Duncan, Tony Parker. You could do any combination with Hakeem and Drexler when they wanted to. But no, it feels like nobody talks about Durant and Curry because of the hatred Durant got for coming to the Golden State Warriors. Sure. But in terms of, like, jump shooters, guys who could create their own shot, guys who could drop 70 on you in a blink of an eye, like, they don't get a lot of run when it comes to the greatest duos of all time.
Yeah, Bonta, that's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about two guys who were former MVPs that came together. It's like, how can they not be top three? You know what I mean? And what they've done. Kevin Durant, before he even came to the Warriors, all the scoring championships he had and the crazy things he did, and then Steph, all the crazy stuff he did, and then, adding more championships is like, that's a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, what about Klay Thompson and Steph Curry? Because we're going to get Klay Thompson back here, and we've got him also in the bracket. And although it's not as prolific as Kevin Durant, man, Klay and Steph, that's like peanut butter and jelly.
100%. I'm giving them top 10 for sure. Two guys that basically changed the game of basketball, especially, with their jump shot and the way they score, how efficient they are. So, yeah, Klay and Steph are definitely top 10. Of all time as well, just what they bring and how they feed off of each other and complement each other.
What made Shaq and Wade so great, and what was it that, well, maybe that's not even a question. When Shaq kind of passed the torch to D. Wade, what was that like? Because Shaq was a man going to Miami, make the Eastern Conference Finals, lose to Detroit, and then they win the championship. What was it like to see Shaq pass that torch to D. Wade to say, all right, young fella, this is your squad, but I'm going to help you. I'm going to be your Robin to your Batman?
Man, we talking about one of the most humble superstars in Dwayne Wade. So he was just coming into his own. He had just had a big year previous, taking his team taking that team to Game 7, I believe, against PD. And, to get Shaq there, that can be intimidating. You know what I mean? Somebody just played with Kobe for all those years, and somebody that's, won 3 championships back to back to back. So for Shaq to come in day one and give D. Wade the keys and let him know, I'm just here to help, made him feel comfortable. D. Wade never talked about it, but, it gave him a little swag to himself. So he's like, I got backup. You know what I mean? I got the big fella. I'm going to do what I got to do. And I think he really, really made D. Wade comfortable from day one. And that's why we were able to see D. Wade flourish like that, because Shaq used to always put that battery in his back that he was one of the greatest of all time when he was young, though.
Yeah, I love Shaq. I've always got a soft spot for that guy. There's a lot of talk about Ben Simmons, whether he's going to stay in Philadelphia, whether he's going to be on the move. If you're the Golden State Warriors, just hypothetically, are you in or are you out on Ben Simmons for Wiggins? Obviously, there'll be other things that are involved, but just hypothetically, would you be open to something like that?
I think I have mixed feelings on it. I think, one, you're talking about a former number 1 pick, talking about somebody that can play the point forward, who can defend at a high level, brings athleticism, IQ. You know what I mean? His only knock is shooting, and it's like, come on now, like that's not the worst thing. Jason Kidd couldn't shoot into his, final seasons of his career. So that's one take on it. And then the second take is like, you're giving up Andrew Wiggins, a guy that can go get 20 points and be consistent with averaging 18 points and knock down an open shot, and he can defend on the other end. So I'm kind of got mixed feelings about it, but if it happened, I can see that being an upgrade as well.
How you feeling about those Dodgers being 4 games back of the Giants, Darrell? We weren't going to let you off the hook, man. We're going to do you like that, man. Hey, we're feeling good with our Giants, man. They're rolling right now, D. Come on, man. I know you see us.
No, y'all playing so well, and it's like every time we get a win or two, I go look at the standings. I'm like, dang, we still 3-4 games behind. No, you guys playing some good baseball right now. I can't even lie.
Darrell, we made a bet at the beginning of the year, you and I, Giants, Dodgers. It was head-to-head and who was going to win. And, I'm feeling pretty good. We got one more series, but I'm sniffing a golf outing with me having all of the cart beverages I want and the round being comped by Darrell Wright.
Yes, sir. About 49 games left.
hey, Darrell, I thought he was going to bring up the fact, because, we all follow each other on IG, and we saw you post something on IG like, man, the kids are back at schools. I need some golf homies. And Shasky over here hit me up ASAP, said, hey, Darrell needs some homies, man. Let's hit him up. Darrell, how's the schedule looking like?
just let me know. I was on like the 10th hole. Mully called me yesterday, like, D-Right, where you at? I was like, I'm out here golfing. He was like, oh, man, I was going to tell you to come golf with me. So I played about 12 left and played 18 with Mully yesterday. So Hey, man, just give me a call, man. I got nothing but time, baby.
I got the bat phone ready. I'm here. Could you imagine Darrell, me, Mully, just 3 NBA dudes cutting it up on the course? I love you, Darrell.
Honestly, before we let you go, how would Mullen look at the Butcher Boy? How would Mullen be like, man, this boy's wild, huh?
He gonna call you like, come on, Monte. It's your boy.
It's your boy. It's your boy B. Come on, man. Really?
What are you doing, man?
What are we doing? Darrell, always good talking to you, man. We'll catch up soon, really, really soon. We may have to catch you up on that golf outing, man, because we got a little time before football season. I know your Cowboys are on Hard Knocks, so we'll get into that a little bit later. But always good to hear from you, Darrell.
Thanks, fellas. Have a good one. Thanks for having me.
Oh, he's the best.
Darrell right here on 95.7 The Game on the Morning Roast. Mully's funny. Those two dudes right there, man. Classic.
Hey, one of the things that he said is top 3 of all time. He doesn't just say things flippantly.
Nah.
This is a guy who played with Dwayne Wade.
Yeah.
All right. This is a guy who won championships, played for Pat Riley, has a really good feel for the history of the game. For him to say KD and Steph is top 3 all time, man, it feels like we don't give them the. I mean, I do. I know you do.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of Warrior fans do. But it doesn't feel like the impression that you get throughout the entire country is that era is remembered that way. Because I think they're one of the greatest duos of all time.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I just remember that game 1 against San Antonio when Kawhi, Zaza landed on his ankle and it changed the series. No doubt about it. But they went berserk in that third and fourth quarter. It was like, my turn 3, your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn. And it was just like, how do you stop these two?
Right.
Like, and we were begging for the 1-3 pick and roll.
Oh, yeah.
Begging for it. Now, we got the KD sound coming up. Speaking of Kevin Durant with Draymond Green, and I did see something around the internet to what they said about Bob Myers and Steve Kerr. I'm very eager to hear what do you think they said about that? Bob Myers and Steve Kerr. How do you think Kevin Durant feels about those two?
I'm sure that there's some appreciation at some level, and I'm sure there's some resentment might not be the right word, but frustration on other levels. Like I do think, and again, I remember that night like it was yesterday. I was on air at night after the Warrior game when Steph Curry missed the game down against the Clippers, and Draymond didn't throw him the ball, and Kevin Durant's clapping for it, and they're yelling at each other. And there was just certain things that Draymond did that night that even if you're the biggest Draymond Green fan in the world, you just can't do to another grown person, like whether it's a man or a woman. You just can't conduct yourself in. And again, I know it's sports and it's not a like-for-like situation in most work environments. You can't talk to people the way he does at times. And even if you do, you got to be able to have the sincerity and the humility to understand, like, you know what, I was wrong. And to be able to come back around, and this goes back to what I was saying about reflection, come back around the next day or a couple days later if you cooled off, and apologize or at least put on the appropriate face that you have to. You don't have to believe in it in your heart, but you have to have an amicable work relationship. Name me a work environment where you can do that to someone.
Yeah, you can't.
And then still be on the same job site.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it happen before, but then it
creates a dysfunctional environment.
It does. It creates tension.
I'm not asking you to be a choir boy at all times. I'm just saying, like, when you do step out of line, sometimes it is okay to be like, you know what, I took that a little too far.
No doubt.
And I think that's a reasonable response to that night in particular.
And I'm surprised that their friendship is, or that they've remained so tight, Draymond Green and Kevin Durant. Maybe it is because they're on opposite teams now, and they're on different teams. Because I've been on the same team at work environments where I've gotten into it with people, and you just never, that level of friendship will never, ever be there. You know what I'm saying? You can never reach that point to where, hey, let bygones be bygones. We're all good. Like, it's always that, like, I know what you said about me. I know what you said to me. Screw you. Like, it's never going to reach that level that it needs to get to. And I've had work environments like that. So I hear you. You just can't say things like that. And that night, I just remember the next night, that was when Kevin Durant basically was like, he got asked, do you think Draymond deserved a suspension? He goes, I don't know. They suspended him. Like, he was out of it. And Draymond gets suspended. And, like, it's interesting to see if the Warriors ever get back to that championship, because I think a lot of fans do look at it like, you know what, we should have had Kevin Durant stay. We should have traded Draymond Green because of that situation.
I think they're in a really tough spot. I think it was easy for me to say, and I said it that night, get rid of Draymond right now. If that's what it's going to take to be able to keep Kevin Durant, which he might have been gone anyway, but I would have moved him that night. Because, I mean, just look at the hierarchy. You have to bow down to some of the great players in NBA history. Pat Riley is having reservations for not caving in to LeBron James's demands, and look at where he's been. And he's been to a finals since LeBron James left, and they obviously lost that finals. But I think at the end of the day, as great as Draymond is on the court and some of the things that he does, it's what makes Draymond Draymond. Can we all just admit he's a bully?
He does bully some guys.
No, he is a bully. Yes, is that part of what makes him really good on the court? No doubt. But he has no limitations on that bullying, and I think that is really difficult for an organization to be able to rein in. I just think that he has bullied teammates, coaches, fans, other people in the media, and you can get away with that when you're on top of the world, and that's why everyone's like, he's going to be a media star. He will be. I'll be interested to see how he deals with self-deprecation and criticism. He doesn't respond well to those two things.
He doesn't at all. But we've been doing a lot of fun things here, talking about dynamic duos. And, SummerSlam is on Saturday. WWE is on Saturday in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium. And we thought we would do something fun today or for the rest of the week. We came up with the best Bay Area tag teams of all time.
Let's do this.
So the first round, we've got Montana Rice versus Conseco Maguire. We've had Navarro Bowman, Patrick Willis versus Jeff Kent and Barry Bonds. We've had Kevin Durant and Steph Curry against Joe Thornton and Patrick Marlowe. And then Mully Hardaway against Barry and Thurman. Now here's the other side of the bracket. The other side of the bracket starting off with Willie Mays and Willie McCovey versus the Splash Brothers.
Oh, my God.
Steph Curry, Klay Thompson.
Oh, my God.
Here we go, baby. Willie Mays.
There's a long drive way back in center field. Way back. It is. Willie Mays just brought this crowd to its feet with a catch which must have been an optical illusion to a lot of people.
2 pitch to McCovey. Drive to deep left field. Back goes Crawford. Still going back. It's gone. A grand slam home run. Williams scores. Bond scores. Power scores. McCovey rounding third base with a 14th grand slam of his major league career. The Giants lead 8-2.
Here's Harden right side. Livingston is defender. Drives hard, comes in, throws cross court. Stolen by Curry. He anticipated the play. 2-on-2. Drifting middle. Trailing Thompson fakes. Flyby. 3-ball. Got it. Klay Thompson from the left wing. Golden State's got their first double-digit lead of the night.
5-1-0. Bonta and Butch versus Guru and Dibbs. They don't want that smoke. They don't want that smoke. I love you, Dibbs and Guru. I don't want that smoke.
I'm a snob. I'm going to be real with you. This is an impossible first-round matchup.
This is tough.
And I know that Mays and McCovey are the all-time greats. I'm taking the Splash Bros.
Oh, you're insane.
I'm taking the Splash Bros. They're my favorite. Honestly, they're my favorite basketball duo ever. And as much as I love Durant, you know that. Come on, man.
Mace McCovey hit over 1,000 home runs.
And these guys
combined.
got 3 championships and are going to break every single three-point record known to man.
This is one where I can't get behind the championships. I love Steph and Klay. I really do. Mason McCovey hit over a combined 1,000 homers, the batting average, the gold gloves, what they mean to the Giants, the RBIs. I call it Mays McCovey, man.
Who's better in their individual sport, Willie Mays or Steph Curry? I'm just curious.
Oh, my
I'm not
gosh.
asking.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm not asking like there's a right or wrong in your estimation.
I got to lean Willie Mays.
I mean, it's close. Can you believe we're even saying that?
Dude,
I mean, like, it's closer than I think people want to give it credit.
Look, if you said Steph Curry, I wouldn't be mad at you.
That's what I'm saying.
If you say that, I wouldn't even be mad at you. Will Clark, Kevin Mitchell, they did not make the list. That's how tough this list is.
They did. They're at the bottom.
Did they really? Well, I didn't even realize that. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
They did make the list. Wow. People are going to be mad about this.
I know. The seeding, everyone's going to kill Curly over the seeding. I love that this is a first-round matchup.
Dude, this is – I got to go Mays McCovey.
Okay.
Here's our next matchup.
Give it to me.
Tim Lincecum, Matt Cain, Jerry Rice, Steve Young.
High in the air and catchable. Blanco. It's a no-hitter for Tim Lincecum.
Kane appeared to look around, gazing at the upper deck, but now looking into Buster Posey. 1 ball and 2 strikes. On the ground, Arias from deep third. Got him! And that's a perfect game. And the Giants mobbing Matt Cain on the pitcher's mound.
Number 44. They fake it to Floyd. Young to the air. Young to Jerry Rice. Touchdown, San Francisco. Well, that's quite a statement their defense made. The lightning bolts were just hit by one.
Wow. That was the last time the 49ers won a Super Bowl when they destroyed the San Diego Chargers.
So we've got Steve Young and Jerry Rice, the greatest combination in 49er history for touchdowns between quarterback and wide receiver versus Lincecum and Kane. Steve Young's my favorite football player of all time. You know that. I love Steve Young. Frankie Albert, number 2.
Stop with the Frankie Albert.
You know I love Frankie Albert.
No, you don't, kid. You never see Frankie Albert play.
What are you talking about? I got him on DVDs. I'm taking Lincecum and Kane. I am. I love Lincecum, dude. He's my favorite pitcher of all time. I'm taking Tim Lincecum and Matt Cain.
Wow.
I can't believe I'm saying that out loud. And I love Steve Young.
Wow.
Dog, I got 5 of his jerseys.
Wow.
You know I love Steve Young.
Wow.
I'm taking Lincecum and Cain. Lincecum was that sick.
This side of the bracket.
It's unfair.
It's like, it's like when you see those teams in March Madness and say St. Mary's and Moraga, they had a great season in the WCC. And they get sent out east, right?
Right.
And they're a 10 seed. It's like, this is unfair. How does this 1 seed got an easier bracket like Wichita State? They had that 1 year where they're 1 seed, yet Kentucky's the 8, right? And it's like, wait a minute. We mean we beat the 16 seed? We got to play Kentucky?
Crazy.
Like, this is crazy. The same thing with this side of the bracket. Like, if there's the strength of the bracket is right here. Mays McCovey, Curry Thompson, Lincecum, Kane, Young, and Rice. Damn. I got to go. I had Lincecum and Kane written down in my bracket.
You did.
I did. It's right here. It's written down.
That chicken scratch. Dude, like you're the old doctor from yesterday's show.
I got to cross it out, man. I got to go Steve Young, and I got to go Jerry Rice, man. I got to go Steve Young, Jerry Rice. That's it.
This is an impossible
It's impossible.
bracket.
It's impossible.
Not the Impossible Burger. You can get at Burger King. The Impossible Bracket.
No.
Let's continue this conversation in a second because I've got some more thoughts. And my God, do we have the Durant Draymond sound? Can we get it? Let's do this, baby.
We're going to do that on the other side right here on 95.7 The Game. And it's all brought to you by Outdoor Supply Hardware.
Outdoor Supply Hardware is paying your sales tax for 1 weekend only, Friday through Sunday, August 27th.
Yeah, if you're out driving and about and you don't have it already, download the Odyssey app right now. I'm sipping on my Timeless coffee. Shout out Timeless. I'm going to head over there after our show meeting today. Going to get me some pastries from my dad and my mom. Going to go grab them a couple of different things. But also, if you're on YouTube or Twitch, download those bad boys. Sign it. It takes 2 seconds. Create a login. Hit subscribe on 957 The Game, and you can watch us. You can go back and see all the videos. We post a ton of stuff. If you miss some of the things that happen on throughout the day, if you want to see Liquidate Your Assets with Guru and Dibs, if you want to see some posts from pressers and things like that, everything that you need about Bay Area sports is on the YouTube page. And shout out Timeless. They're going to be slathered all over that bad boy like a NASCAR.
No doubt. No doubt about it. Let's
Why are you laughing?
I'm looking at my boy NTD69.
What's he saying?
He's on the text line. He's on Twitter. I get it now. Bonte's a baseball fan. He doesn't value basketball nor football as he does baseball. Well, sounds like you, NTD69, don't value baseball. I value all sports. On the pecking order in Bonta Hill's household right now, it's football. Basketball's 1B. Baseball's 1C.
Oh.
Used to be baseball. Baseball used to be 1B.
I'm one of those guys when people used to ask me growing up, and even to this day, like, what's your favorite sport? What season are we in?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Seasonal, right? Like, once hoops came around, it's like, dude, I'm in the gym all the time.
Exactly.
I'm playing outdoor hoops.
Exactly.
Oh, wait, summertime, basketball's done. Then you go get the wiffle ball. You go play baseball somewhere. Football season, we're playing football on the sandlot. So I love all sports. Love all sports. I'm a sports geek.
Except golf.
I respect golf. I try to watch it.
Do you think Draymond and Kevin Durant respect each other?
Oh, I don't know. It's a great question. They sat down in a one-on-one via Bleacher Report, and they discussed a lot of things. And you know what? Let's just start with this cut. And I want the fans to chime in on this one. 888-957-9570. Because it's back out here in our faces again. What happened down at Staples Center a few years ago between Draymond Green and Kevin Durant. And Draymond Green asked Kevin Durant how much that drove them apart.
For my own personal sanity, because I've been getting my ass kicked ever since you left. So just for my own personal sanity, how much did our argument against the Clippers drive you to ultimately lead the Warriors?
It wasn't the argument. It was the way that everybody, Steve Kerr, act like it didn't happen. Bob Myers and tried to just discipline you and think that would put the mask over everything. I really felt like that was such a big situation for us as a group. The first time we went through something like that, we had to get that all out. I remember watching The Last Dance, and when Scotty didn't go into the game, the whole team in the locker room said, Scotty, that was up that you did that. We needed that. We just needed to throw all of that out on the table and say, yo, Dre, K, like, that was up that we even had to go through that. Let's just wipe our hands with that and go finish the task. I don't think we did that, and we tried to dance around it. I just didn't like how all of that, just the vibe between all of that, it just made weird to me. And I'd rather us be who we say we are, family first. Communication is key. Like, we didn't show that, and that's what rubbed me the wrong way more than anything.
Wow. They didn't believe, or Kevin Durant didn't believe, that Steve Kerr and Bob Myers handled it right.
What do you think? So he wanted them to go into the locker room and everybody address it all as one unit?
I thought Clay said, hey, man, we're here to win games. And I thought Sean Livingston, from what I heard, and David West, from what I heard, dissipated some of that stuff in the locker room. And KD left, and he was already on the team bus. Remember that? He was furious. Draymond was furious. Do I think they handled it the best way, the organization as a whole? I don't. Because it was new, right? It's like, wait a minute, Draymond and Kerr, all right, this just happens. We can move on, win some games. We won 2 championships. I didn't know that they felt like, or Kevin Durant felt like that. Now, I remember the situation where Steph Curry went to Draymond's house and talked to him about what happened because Steph Curry didn't travel. Remember, he didn't go to L.A. He was out with an injury, and they made Steph Curry travel on that Texas road trip. I don't know, man. It kind of sounds like a blame game to me. I'm going to blame it on this person for not handling it right. I don't know about that. Like, Draymond Green went up to him, apologized. They walked in together at the gym. Was it going to get masked up? Like, what could you have done to move on from that quickly?
I think that's the fascinating point here. So, like, let's deal in reality here. Would you agree with me? Basketball players have more equity, power, pull, whatever you want to say, in their given sport, within their given franchises than any other sport, maybe any other industry.
Yep.
Outside of what actors in movies, right? When you say that NBA stars have more power than even
No doubt.
Aaron Rodgers right now wants out of Green Bay.
And he ain't going nowhere.
Right? Like, and he
gets
can't
no pull.
have any more power.
He gets no pull on draft picks.
Right?
He gets no pull on free agency moves. He gets no pull. Like, Brady gets a little pull. They're trying to give Rodgers pull, Randall Cobb. But NBA players, they're the most powerful athletes, probably outside of European soccer players.
Right.
Or not European, but soccer players out there playing.
And even then, Messi wanted to get a contract and the team couldn't afford him. And so look, anyway, point being is that I'm not sure a GM or coach, let's forget who it is, Bob Myers, Steve Kerr. I'm not sure any person has the equity to be able to do whatever the hell Kevin Durant wanted to be appeased at that particular moment. My question to Kevin Durant would have been immediately, so did you want me, if I'm Draymond Green, so did you want me traded immediately? Would that have been a better alternative? That's what I would like to have known. I do think that they didn't handle it the best. And I think that this goes back to everybody's scared to death of Draymond Green. And he has been running basically unchecked for however many years.
For a long time.
And I think it's really hard to rein him in because of the sport basketball. But I think specifically we've disproportionately put him up on a pedestal like he is Michael Jordan when he's not. He's the Horace Grant to this particular Michael Jordan player like Kevin Durant.
Well, let's hear from Draymond Green on his meeting after that Clippers lost November 12th of 2019.
When we landed back from L.A., I sat Hazel was sitting in the car for an hour and 45 minutes. They pulled me in that room at Signature for an hour and 45 minutes, and they tried to tell me, you need to apologize. And I told them, I'll talk to Kay, but y'all aren't going to tell me what I need to say. And, they went on for an hour and 45 minutes saying a bunch of bull. And ultimately, they realized, all right, we're not getting through to him. We're going to try again in the morning. And so we met the next morning, and they said, all right, you slept on it. You ready to apologize? And I told them right then and there, I said, y'all about to this up. I said, the only person that can make this right is me and Kay. And there's nothing that y'all can do, and y'all are going to this up. And in my opinion, they it up. I think so, too. And they told me right then and there, like, we're going to suspend you for this game. I laughed in their face, literally laughed in their face. And Bob said to me, he said, wow, that was not the reaction I was looking for or expecting. And I said, well, either I'm going to laugh in your face or I'm going to cuss you the out. So you pick, I'm going to choose laugh. So I think what you're doing is funny, and so I'm going to laugh. And so it's interesting to hear you say essentially the same thing that I told them that day.
Wow.
Who does he think he is?
Wow.
Like, on the real.
1 second here.
Who does he think he is?
1 second here. Is he right to blame Steve Kerr and Bob Myers for messing this up?
Maybe on some level, yes. Maybe on some level. Like, it's hard to say that they handled this perfectly. Like, no, they didn't. Draymond, the insubordination, and I'm not saying he's got to fall in line. Dog, read the room a little. Have some tact. Have a little self-reflection. This dude is delusional. Like, Bonta, how can anyone sit here, listen to what he was saying there, knowing the situation, and be like, Dre's right. Dre's right. It's all on Kerr and Bob Myers, and Durant's just going along with him. Draymond's completely lost me. Like, this is, I'm just throwing my hands up. How could you work with someone like this?
Unbelievable.
That's what I'm asking the question about for the interview. It's like Draymond's not putting himself in a good spot if he's putting this all out there.
I want to play it one more time. It's 1:24. So I want our audience to really listen to this. What happened November 12th, 2018, the 2018-19 season? Well, the Warriors go to the NBA Finals. They lose to the Raptors. They were trying to three-peat. Warriors had a game early on in the season at Staples Center. We were at a Monday Night Football game, I believe, that night. I forget who the Niners were playing, but they were playing on Monday Night Football. November 12th, 2018. Probably was the New York Giants. I think it was the New York Giants. That game we went to Levi's and sat in the lounge or whatnot, but that's irrelevant. They lose to the Clippers in overtime, and Draymond Green had the ball going up the floor, and Kevin Durant's clapping his hands. Give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball, and Draymond turns it over. They walk back to the bench, and they curse each other out, and Draymond calls them the B word, and You could read Kevin Durant's lips when he walked back on the court. That's why I'm out of here. Well, Kevin Durant basically was like, Steve and Bob didn't handle it well. Here's what Draymond Green had to say on the follow-up on his meetings after that fateful night.
When we landed back from L.A., I sat Hazel was sitting in the car for an hour and 45 minutes. They pulled me in that room at Signature for an hour and 45 minutes, and they tried to tell me, you need to apologize. And I told them, I'll talk to Kay, but y'all aren't going to tell me what I need to say. Mm-hmm. And, they went on for an hour and 45 minutes saying a bunch of bull. And ultimately, they realized, all right, we're not getting through to him. We're going to try again in the morning. And so we met the next morning, and they said, all right, you slept on it. You ready to apologize? And I told them right then and there, I said, y'all about to this up. I said, the only person that can make this right is me and Kay. And there's nothing that y'all can do, and y'all are going to this up. And in my opinion, they it up. I think so, too. And they told me right then and there, like, we're going to suspend you for this game. I laughed in their face, literally laughed in their face. And Bob said to me, he said, wow, that was not the reaction I was looking for or expecting. And I said, well, either I'm going to laugh in your face or I'm going to cuss you the up. So you pick, I'm going to choose laugh. So I think what you're doing is funny, and so I'm going to laugh. And so it's interesting to hear you say essentially the same thing that I told them that day.
888-957-9570. Do you agree with Draymond Green? Did Steve Kerr and Bob Myers mess this up? I have a hard time blaming Steve Kerr and Bob Myers for the situation. Did they handle it the best way? Probably not. It's a new situation. But for Draymond to say and Kevin Durant to say they messed up this situation, you two were the guys who got into it. You two were the guys who were screaming at each other. You two handle it. What do you want from the heck? Like, these are multi-million-dollar players. Like, you were just asking me, Shasky, do NBA players have the most power in all of sports? They do. There's no coach. Like, if an owner goes down and you see a situation with the coach or the player, guess who's getting fired first? In the NBA, it's the coach. They always side with the player. For the most part, they always side with the player. Now, we know Chris Webber and Don Nelson, the Warriors made the mistake of siding with Don Nelson, and Webber was out of here. Next thing you know, the Warriors don't make the playoffs for 13, 14 straight seasons. I have a hard time blaming Steve Kerr and Bob Myers for that situation. They talk it out for an hour 45, and Draymond was like, you know what? I'm not apologizing. Just not going to do it. And now you're blaming them for messing up that situation? It seems I don't like the lack of accountability here from both of these players. Like, you don't agree with the method? I don't like that message being thrown out there like that.
Well, okay, so on some level, is Bob his boss, his partner? I don't know. Let's just say he's not his boss, he's his partner, you and I. Right. If I laughed in your face, B, you'd be ready to swing on me.
Oh, dude.
Laughed in your face or said, I'm going to cuss you out. Like, come on, man. Is there no respect for your coworker? Forget boss. Forget that. Let's say they're not bosses. They're coworkers at the least, right? Wow. Come on, man. Like, and here's the thing. Like, and I'm going to share something here, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. There was a time in my life where I did a lot of dumb things. And I sat in a jail cell, all right? And I remember my Uncle Jim basically said to me, to my face, he said, look, and this is when I was wearing an orange jumpsuit. He said, look, you are either going to be a victim the rest of your life, or you are going to accept responsibility and admit your culpability in your actions. Is the world against you? No. Have bad things happened? Maybe. But you play a large part in how you react and the things that you set off, the chain reactions from your actions. Until you can look in the mirror and accept that culpability, accept that responsibility, you will always be blameless. You will always be a victim. And all these horrible things will be outside forces affecting stuff that happens to you. Is Draymond Green mature enough? I thought he'd mature and grow older and a little more wise and accept these culpabilities. None of these. This is like talking to a person who is irrational, unreasonable, and has no willingness to accept even a slither of the pie chart of culpability. It's troubling. And I'm going to be honest with you, hearing this, I don't even know how they keep this guy around. Dude, how could you keep this guy around?
707. He's not laughing at Pat Riley's face. So it's a lack of respect for Steve Kerr and Bob Myers, which is unacceptable. And you bring up the situation about playing victim, and your Uncle Jim had
he
that
saved
talk
my
with
life.
You. It sounds like
it changed my life, and I mean that.
I had a similar moment. maybe not in that sense, but like I was always blaming people. Hey, my mom is doing this and my dad's not around. I don't have any.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? I became 21 years old and I'm like, you know what? I got to just grow up.
Exactly.
I just got to just take my life over and just grind my way through it. 888-957-9570. The lines are lit up right now. Where are we going? Like, I'm seeing a lot of texts right now.
What are they saying?
Trade Draymond right now for Ben Simmons. Get Draymond up out of here.
Now
Get Draymond up out of here.
Let's go.
Now I'm sure there's going to be I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people here to say, you know what, Steve Kerr, Bob Myers, get him out of here. It's on them. It sucks that had to come out with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant was like, yeah, they did mess up the situation. Mess up what situation? The situation where you were a Golden State Warrior? Like that situation by suspending Draymond Green? What was supposed to happen? What would have made Kevin Durant happy?
Nothing. Well, that's another. So
that's
let me play
the other layer.
Let me play the other layer.
Yes. Kevin Durant.
Nothing will make Kevin Durant happy. So I'm not saying it's all Draymond. There's also the element of Kevin Durant is another unreasonable individual who's never done anything wrong in his life. Like 2 wrongs don't make a right, and in this case, both of them share a giant slice of the pie chart of culpability. There's also a slice for Kerr and Myers and Lakeup or whoever you want to say the Warriors brass. But at the end of the day, these are grown men acting like children.
Unbelievable.
I can't believe what I'm hearing. The second time I heard it, it made me angrier.
Right. Well,
no, I'm being real.
Well, here's the thing, Joe.
He's delusional.
This thing, we just asked Durant, right? It's been lingering. They finally sit down and clear the air. And next thing you know, there's more guys to get thrown under the bus over this situation. Like, the Warriors go out and they suspend Draymond Green. And I don't blame them for suspending Draymond Green. He wouldn't have. All right, you don't want to apologize, but you're saying I'm laughing in your face because I could curse you out right now? Well, you know what? Take a playoff.
Yes,
take a
exactly.
Game off. You know what? That's where we're at right now. We're playing it back-to-back. We're going back home. Let's just take a playoff for a second here. I don't know. What did Kevin Durant want? Did he want a straight-up apology for Draymond Green? It doesn't sound like it.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you there.
No, you're all good.
Don't you know people in your life who are unpleasable? Like I've been in customer service. My wife's been a waitress. There are certain customers that you'll have that no matter what you do, they're just miserable and they want to dump on you. And I feel like in a lot of ways, that's KD. KD is just miserable and he's going to dump on people, and that's his MO. He's also one of the greatest basketball players of all time. And again, what he says does resonate with a lot of the younger players. How does this reflect on all these young guys you got now on this team with Kuminga, Wiseman, and these youngsters? You want Draymond and what he did to Wiseman last year, which I told you I had issues with, him screaming at Wiseman on the court like that. If I was Wiseman, I'd turn back, dog, I got more post moves you right now at 19 years old than you've had in your whole career.
I know
who are you talking to?
I know former NBA players who didn't like what Draymond Green was doing to James Wiseman. Let's get the lines cracking. They're on hold. Clayton in Dublin, start this party off. What did you take of that soundbite there?
Hey, thanks for taking my call. Love the show.
Thank you.
You know, personally, I think these guys are acting like a bunch of little baby boys. You know, it takes a big. They're the only two who are in the situation. Those two need to become grown men, handle it amongst themselves. And I don't even think you blame Steve Kerr or Bob Myers, because at the end of the day, if those two had a disagreement, they need to come together, figure it out. They can work as a team or play amicably.
Cut off there. Let's go to Alex in Oakland real quick. Alex in Oakland. Think he believes Draymond may be in a right. Alex, you're on the roast here on 95.7 The Game.
Okay, so I don't think you guys listen to what they both said. I think you guys are, just, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. The point of what he's saying is you cannot sincerely apologize to someone if someone is trying to make you apologize to them. Kevin Durant said, I think they messed it up too. Why? Because you can't make Draymond have a sincere apology to Kevin Durant if you're making him do it. He has to apologize to him man on man. If they would have made Draymond apologize to him right there, Kevin Durant would have been like, you know what? I don't accept your apology because that wasn't sincere. And he more than likely would have left anyway. But you can't make a man
Alex, I understand what you're saying, Alex. I understand what you're saying, Alex. You make a great point. But why doesn't it feel like it's a little small after a team gave you a contract extension after that incident and you're still throwing them under the bus? I get it's a one-on-one, you're letting the air clear, but doesn't it seem like a drive-by on Steve Kerr and Bob Myers?
Big time.
You know what? You know what the bottom line is? As long as we keep going back and viewing this situation, it's going to seem pettier and pettier.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Because everybody is saying it. You blaming Steve Kerr. It's not Steve Kerr's fault Draymond yelled at him. It's not Steve Kerr's fault the way Draymond Green acts. But you have to let Draymond Green, because he acts like that and you know it, you have to let him do stuff on his timeline and from his heart apologize to Kevin Durant. And maybe Kevin Durant accepts that. But everybody know Kevin Durant wasn't coming back anyway. He came to get championships, he got them, and he's out. He basically used the Warriors.
Yeah, but okay. Look,
thanks for the call, Alex. We appreciate your points.
Alex, I agree with you. I've said this for quite some time. Kevin Durant gave the Warriors exactly what they needed, and the Warriors gave Kevin Durant exactly what he needed. It was a very mutually beneficial relationship, and it had run its course because Kevin Durant wanted to leave, and he is totally entitled to leaving. We are talking about this particular situation, what it means to other potential free agents, and what it means to a working environment, a conducive working environment with the GM who's trying to recruit. I mean, the head coach. You're
over Draymond, huh?
Can you just tell me what good? This is what I always like. Right. Again, I go back to my uncle. He would say things like, okay, so you want to pop off on somebody who did you wrong. What good comes from that?
Nothing.
Okay, what's the resolution? What's your end game? So I ask you out loud.
And somebody may die, somebody may get beat up, somebody may get hurt.
Oh, so you'll feel good for popping off, but what's the end game? Is the relationship better?
Nope.
Is your relationship with the people you're throwing under the bus better?
Probably not.
Are you a better person because of it?
They just came from the Olympics.
Come on, man.
They just came from the Olympics. How's Steve Kerr feeling right now? Steve Kerr's not a perfect coach, but how's he feeling right now? It's their fault. Like, they messed this up. Let's go to
walking on eggshells. They've been walking on eggshells for this guy forever.
Let's get one more call, and we'll replay the sound from this one-on-one sit-down with Draymond Green and Kevin Durant. Let's go to Doug in Berkeley real fast before we hit the break here. We'll get Jonathan Shonduriel in Austin on the other side. Doug in Berkeley, you're on the roast.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Great topic today. Great, you guys laying it out how you feel. The show seems really real.
Thank you.
Draymond screwed up. He was wrong. Kevin Durant is notoriously thin-skinned. He is a fantastic basketball player, but he's a prima donna. These two guys need to take responsibility for it, particularly Draymond. And you got to understand, with Draymond, you know what you get. You know what you get. He'll drive you crazy. He's the reason we lost 3 games last year and didn't make the playoffs. But, you know what you get. So it's not Bob Myers' fault. It's not Kerr's fault. Draymond needs – these guys make too much money.
No doubt.
That's all I have to say.
No doubt. Thanks for the phone call, Doug. This is what we're going to do because this has people fired up right now. Warrior fans are fired up right now. A lot of people saying Draymond Green is in the right. A lot of people saying Draymond Green is in the wrong. Get rid of him right now. So what we're going to do here, we're not going to break at 9:12. We're going to keep this thing rolling until about 9:25. We're going to get to Jonathan Shonduriel and Austin in just a second. But we're going to play the full clip here on the Chip Series brought to you by Bleacher Report, where Draymond Green and Kevin Durant sat down for an interview. Here's the full clip on what happened November 12th, 2018 between Draymond Green and Kevin Durant, and who they blamed afterwards on how the situation spiraled out of control.
For my own personal sanity, because I've been getting my kicked ever since you left. So just for my own personal sanity, how much did our argument against the Clippers drive you to ultimately lead the Warriors? It wasn't the argument, it was the way that everybody, Steve Kerr act like it didn't happen, Bob Myers, and tried to just discipline you and think that that would put the mask over everything. I really felt like that was such a big situation for us as a group. The first time we went through something like that, we had to get that all out. I remember watching The Last Dance, and when Scotty didn't go into the game, the whole team in the locker room said, Scotty, that was up that you did that. We needed that. We just needed to throw all of that on the table and say, yo, Dre, K, like, that was up that we even had to go through that. Let's just wipe our hands with that and go finish the task. I don't think we did that, and we tried to dance around it. I just didn't like how all of that, just the vibe between all of that, it just made weird to me. And I'd rather us be who we say we are. Family first. Communication is key. Like we didn't show that, and that's what rubbed me the wrong way more than anything.
When we landed back from LA, I sat Hazel was sitting in the car for an hour and 45 minutes. They pulled me in that room at Signature for an hour and 45 minutes, and they tried to tell me, you need to apologize. And I told them, I'll talk to Kay, but y'all aren't going to tell me what I need to say. Mm-hmm. And, they went on for an hour and 45 minutes saying a bunch of and ultimately they realized, all right, we're not getting through to him. We're going to try again in the morning. And so we met the next morning, and they said, all right, you slept on it. You ready to apologize? And I told them right then and there, I said, y'all about to this up. I said, the only person that can make this right is me and Kay. And there's nothing that y'all can do, and y'all are going to this up. And in my opinion, they it up.
I think so, too.
And they told me right then and there, like, we're going to suspend you for this game. I laughed in their face, literally laughed in their face. And Bob said to me, he said, wow, that was not the reaction I was looking for or expecting. And I said, well, either I'm going to laugh in your face or I'm going to cuss you the fuck out. So you pick, I'm going to choose laugh. So I think what you're doing is funny, and so I'm going to laugh. And so it's interesting to hear you say essentially the same thing that I told them that day.
Wow. 888-957-9570. Lines are jam-packed right now. So Steiny, Guru, and Dibs, at 10 o'clock, you're going to be talking about this. You got a lot of time to get on these airwaves. 95.7 The Game. We'll be talking about this for some time today. That's for sure.
The biggest takeaway, like forget individualizing it, the two of them lack all the self-awareness in the world, number one.
It's unbelievable.
And number two, my goodness. I mean, just constantly looking to blame others. And, if this is how you react, this is one thing that I've always thought to myself in life, right? Mm-hmm. When times get tough, people tell you who they truly are. Right? When times are adverse and you have to go through trials and tribulations, you learn about your relationships. You learn about people. B, have you ever had something happen in your life and a friend or a family member was there for you?
Right.
And it meant a lot.
Yep.
And you learned something about that person and now you can't look at them the same because of what they did, positive or negative, during that trial or tribulation. I can't look at Draymond the same ever again now. Just hearing all of this and how defiant he is and how reluctant he is to even accept the. I knew he was nuts and delusional. This is a whole nother level.
Shasky, which part makes you not want to look at Draymond Green the same way?
The fact that he reflected the next day and was laughing and I'm going to cuss you out and this after having an opportunity to reflect and sit down, you're still this delusional? You can't even have an ounce of humility? I'm not saying that you even have to believe it. How many times have I apologized to someone who I deem to be important in my life? An employer, a colleague, a coworker, a friend, a family member. I thought in my head, I'm right, but I'm not going to accept an ounce of blame to at least amend the relationship.
Right.
Am I willing to budge an inch? This is stubbornness at its worst. It's honestly, it's a sad indictment. This guy's telling you who he is. Listen. He's telling you who he is. Or are you willing to listen? Stop caping up for him and listen.
Let's go to Sean in Mountain View. Sean in Mountain View, you're on the roast here on 95.7 The Game. What's happening?
Morning, fellas. It's Sean, Team Hennessy. You already know what's up.
What's up, Build the Beast, baby?
What's up, man?
What's happening?
Man, I had to chime in on this one because I think you hit it dead on, man. Speaking just from my upbringing, how we were raised, I would blame everybody else. And then, once you became 18 and an adult, life hits you in the face, and you have to realize it's you versus the world, man. You got to take responsibility. You got to put your head down and grind. And I think both of these athletes have been coddled most of their life because they're superstars, so they've been spoiled. They take the responsibility.
No doubt.
So the best teams don't always have the best players. And not every player gels, and these two players could not gel. The best team has a group of collective guys that can play their role and fit into a team, and these two players just couldn't do it. I mean, at the end of the day, and they don't want to take the responsibility that they could not do that.
That's such a great
call.
point. And I'm look at
See
I'm
you
with
soon,
you.
Sean.
Look, if he was 19, 20, 24,
Right.
Draymond Green, all right, you
Right.
know what? He's a young guy. Look, Kobe and Shaq had a breakup.
Right.
And it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible.
Shaq got traded to Miami.
And they were taking shots at each other. I mean, Shaq went on stage and did a rap song. Having a sports feud or whatever within the fabric of a team, that's nothing new.
Right.
The level of defiance toward everyone in the building. Just imagine if you're Steph Curry and you're normally the most mature guy in the room. You're sitting here and going, "Damn, Dre." Like what? Like really? Like that's all I keep thinking about is how does this fall on his teammates' laps?
Look,
the guys that he's got to go to war with every single day.
I love Draymond
it's
Green.
It's a bad look.
I love Draymond Green. But the 415 says it perfectly on the text line. When keeping it real goes wrong.
Wow.
You just can't. You're getting ready for a season. You got young guys here on the team, Kuminga, Wiseman, Wiggins. You got all these players looking up to you. And after last season, the way last season ended, the way you chirped, the way you bullied around Wiseman, and a lot of people didn't like that. And then, you know what? Bob and Steve messed up the situation. What were they supposed to do? They're trying to fix this situation. No, look, we need to focus on the three-peat. You guys are yelling on the court on national television. I got to answer questions everywhere from the media. It's the biggest story in sport. Think about 95-7 the game. Going back to that week. Look, I worked with Greg Papa. He never took phone calls. That story was so big, we took calls the entire week on that show. Because of that story. And to sit there and say, you know what? They messed the situation up. I was either going to laugh in his face or curse him out. And I love Draymond Green. But I'm just thinking, like, if I'm Bob Myers and you're sitting there as the GM of the basketball team, president of basketball operations, Joe Lacob calls you and say, hey, so how did it go? Well, Draymond told me that he was either going to laugh in my face or curse me out, so he just laughed in my face in terms of apologizing to Kevin Durant. Like, that's just wild to me. I look again. The two. It's not one. It takes two to tango. Right.
They're both delusional.
But we know Kevin Durant.
Of course,
we know who he is.
Of course we do. But like, here's the other thing I keep thinking about. You couldn't make it work with Kevin Durant, and now I'm supposed to believe you're going to evolve and shoot more than three times in a game and make it work with Kuminga, Wiseman, and the rest of these guys that they got going. Like, I mean, again, I've asked this question, and I'll continue to ask this. If you're not willing to say enough is enough with Draymond Green, then you're just never willing to admit it. You've given this man diplomatic immunity. Can't be me, because I'm Pontius Pilating myself from Draymond Green. I'm washing my hands and I'm done.
There's a lot of people who disagree with you right now.
That's
Shasky,
fine.
they disagree with both of us here. Look, let's rat-a-tat these calls real quick. We got 5 minutes before the break. I'm going to get everybody on here. Let's start with Jonathan in the city. Jonathan, what's going on? You're on the Rosso 95.7 The Game. Your thoughts on what happened there with Draymond Green?
First of all, thank you for that soundbite, man. That's radio gold right there, guys. Draymond Green, he's Tommy. He's good fellas, man. He's the muscle of the team. But when Tommy crossed the line, he got whacked. And with Draymond Green, man, if they decide to keep him, I think the solution's already on the roster. He's gonna meet a force greater than he is. I dare him to do the same thing that he did to Kevin Durant, to Kuminga. Because I don't care where you're from here, Oakland, Baltimore, or Saginaw. I got from Africa, bro. He's Congo tough. I dare him to do that to Kuminga. I bet you Kuminga's going to plant one in his face, and he's going to realize he can't be doing that no more.
Great call, Jonathan. Let's go to Austin in the Bay Area real quick, Shasky. Austin, you're on 95.7 The Game. What's your thoughts on this interview with Kevin Durant and Draymond Green?
How y'all doing?
Good.
Man, I'm with Draymond. I feel like y'all only hearing what Draymond said, but not hearing what KD said. The key thing he said about the last dance when Scotty did his thing or whatnot. So when Draymond did his thing, that's all I got though.
So what you're saying there?
The key thing is whenever Draymond made that mistake, either he called him the B word, or he said you acting like the B word. As a team, as a family, Bob Myers didn't bring them together in a locker room to explain, hey, man, we can't be doing this. That's where I feel like that's where they messed up, is what KD and Draymond is talking about. You can't tell another grown man to apologize to another grown man. It's as simple as that. He got to do it on his own time. I'm going to laugh at you for suspending me. Huh? Are you kidding me? You joking me, dude?
But, Austin, what should the Warriors have done in that situation then? What should they have done in that situation? Let Draymond Green play the next night?
Exactly. No, don't suspend me. You can't tell me what to do. I'm a grown man. You have my parent.
So you're playing for a team. Hold on, Austin, real quick. I'm trying to understand something here.
Okay.
Trying to understand. They had a back-to-back. And I remember going to the arena the next night when this all took place. Was Draymond Green, was he supposed to play the next night? Were you supposed to just let him play the next night after this situation went down and let it just be, hey, kumbaya, we're over it, yada, yada, yada? Like, what were the Warriors as a front office, as an ownership group, as a coaching staff, what were they supposed to do? Because if you let Draymond Green play, then it enables anybody else to go out there and curse people out and play too, right?
Yeah, he should play the next day. Bob Myers and Kerr should have brought the team together, like Scotty said. Like the team did, like the Bulls did, brought the team together in the locker room and say, hey, we can't be doing this. We're a family. They didn't do that. They failed on that end. So either now you suspend me, now you got another problem. That's what you got a second problem with Draymond.
I hear you, Austin. I respect your opinion. I respect your opinion.
There's some truth to what he's saying regarding the handling of it, because I've had a couple people basically chime in and say that to me that, it's not so much Dre and KD. KD is also upset because the team, forget Bob and Kerr. Curry, Clay, whomever didn't address it as a unit.
But I thought Klay Thompson and Sean Livingston did address it.
So what I would say to that,
Center.
Maybe they did, B. I don't know. But what I would say to that, I think that speaks to how much people are afraid of the bullying of Draymond Green that's been around since day one.
Wow. Let's go to John in San Jose, then look at the Jake and Terry in Oakland. John in San Jose, what's happening? You're on the roast here on 95.7 The Game.
Hey, Bonta, hey, Drew, how's it going?
What's up, baby?
Yeah, just real quick. Yeah, I'm definitely not on Draymond's side here. If you're working for an employer, I would guarantee you if that was a regular, if you're working a regular job and you kind of call out your employer like that, you're going to get fired like that. But I wanted to see what you guys think. Do you think that's a fireable offense that he did that? Because he's saying that everybody's going to hear this interview if they already did.
Yeah.
So just wanted to see
that's no. See, what my thing is why now? Why would you say these secrets if they did happen? Why would you throw that out there and throw these guys under the bus like that? Okay, let's say all this stuff happened behind closed doors, and it did, and everybody's moved on and kumbaya. Now you've opened up an entire can of worms that you can't put back in the jar publicly. That's a bad look. And look, it's impossible to quantify real life work situations with the NBA. I've told you, you can't even quantify. If an NFL player did this, Keyshawn Johnson is deactivated by John Gruden. You're done. T.O. deactivated by Andy Reid. In basketball, they have so much power. You can't deactivate anyone. There is no work situation that is even close.
On a smaller scale, we saw Josh Rosen complain Saturday night saying, I'm not getting enough reps out here. And Kyle Shanahan said, oh, yeah, you're Josh Rosen. Bye-bye. Hit the door. You're out of here.
Yeah.
He got cut. He got cut off the football field.
But if I'm Lakeup and I see this, I open up my Twitter app this morning, and I'm sitting there and I'm seeing damn.
Wow.
We're literally, you ran the car over us, reversed, backed it up, did some donuts, and then sped off.
I want to know what the solution is from here on out. 888-957-9570. Lines are lit up right now. Lines are lit up. Terry, Jake, Duriel will get you on the other side. David will get you on the other side. What should Joe Lacob, Bob Myers, Steve Kerr do about this now? Is this just water under the bridge? Should they brush this off? Or should there be a conversation with Draymond Green about this situation? 888-957-9570. Your phone calls, texts, Twitch and YouTube, all that stuff coming up here as we wrap this bad boy up here on the roast and head it off to Steiny, Guru, and Dibs. That's coming up here on 95.7 The Game.
Hey, Jack. Is it true Jack in the Box has breakfast all day?
That's why we call it all-day breakfast.
And all night?
Yep.
First off, in order to learn, you have to understand what you don't know. And most people don't understand that they don't know shit, so they're just that's just what it'll be.
With Bonta and Shasky.
It's like poetry.
Oh, man, Winston Churchill?
No, it's called irony. All right, so I want to get into this.
Wait, hang on. Winston Churchill?
No, I just brought up
Do you know who Winston Churchill is?
Prime Minister of England? No, I do. I was thinking of somebody. Mark Twain is what I meant to say.
Yeah, but who's Winston Churchill?
He's like a general, right? In the army, right? Yeah.
He was the Prime Minister of England in the time when they needed him most.
Oh, my God.
I was thinking of Mark Twain, man. I had a little brave
Winston Churchill
I had a brave
and Mark Twain.
I was thinking of Mark Twain. You said great poet. I was thinking of Mark Twain, man. I don't know why. I don't know why
I love
Winston
you.
Churchill came out, man.
Nuts.
I don't know.
Hey, we got to replay this Draymond sound.
Yeah, we will in a second.
Draymond and KD sat down. They did something for Bleacher Report. I don't know why it's coming out right now. There's so many different things, and there's a layer that I hadn't considered until recently that I want to get into. Should we play the entire sound for people who are just getting in their car?
888-957-9570. Terry, Jake, David Duriel, and Duriel's on the line. He's out of Alcatraz. Antonio, stay on hold. We're going to play this clip over on the Chip series for Bleacher Report. Draymond Green and Kevin Durant sat down and they discussed some things, and it's got people fired up. People think Draymond Green was right. People think Draymond Green was wrong. What does it mean moving forward for the Golden State Warriors? Here's the clip on Bleacher Report. Kevin Durant and Draymond Green on what went down November 12th of 2018 down at Staples Center against the Clippers.
For my own personal sanity, because I've been getting my kicked ever since you left. So just for my own personal sanity, how much did our argument against the Clippers drive you to ultimately lead the Warriors?
It wasn't the argument. It was the way that everybody, Steve Kerr, act like it didn't happen. Bob Myers and tried to just discipline you and think that would put the mask over everything. I really felt like that was such a big situation for us as a group. The first time we went through something like that, we had to get that all out. I remember watching The Last Dance, and when Scotty didn't go into the game, the whole team in the locker room said, Scotty, that was f***ed up that you did that. We needed that. We just needed to throw all of that on the table and say, yo, Dre, K, like, that was f***ed up that we even had to go through that. Let's just wipe our hands with that and go finish the task. I don't think we did that, and we tried to dance around it. I just didn't like how all of that, just the vibe between all of that, it just made weird to me. And I'd rather us be who we say we are, family first. Communication is key. Like, we didn't show that, and that's what rubbed me the wrong way more than anything.
When we landed back from L.A., I sat Hazel was sitting in the car for an hour and 45 minutes. They pulled me in that room at Signature for an hour and 45 minutes, and they tried to tell me, you need to apologize. And I told them, I'll talk to Kay, but y'all aren't going to tell me what I need to say. Mm-hmm. And, they went on for an hour and 45 minutes saying a bunch of and ultimately they realized, all right, we're not getting through to him. We're going to try again in the morning. And so we met the next morning, and they said, all right, you slept on it. You ready to apologize? And I told them right then and there, I said, y'all about to this up. I said, the only person that can make this right is me and Kay. And there's nothing that y'all can do, and y'all are going to this up. And in my opinion, they it up.
I think so, too.
And they told me right then and there, like, we're going to suspend you for this game. I laughed in their face, literally laughed in their face. And Bob said to me, he said, wow, that was not the reaction I was looking for or expecting. And I said, well, either I'm going to laugh in your face or I'm going to cuss you the f*** out. So you pick, I'm going to choose laugh. So I think what you're doing is funny, and so I'm going to laugh. And so it's interesting to hear you say essentially the same thing that I told them that day.
All right, Draymond Green, Kevin Durant. We're going to get your thoughts in just a second here. And one thing he did say that I agree with, that Kevin Durant and Draymond Green, when Draymond Green said, look, I'm not saying what you guys want me to say. I need to say what I need to say.
Okay.
You're not going to. So I agree with that.
Yeah, I do too.
But when was that going to happen? What was Bob Myers and Steve Kerr, the front office, supposed to do, knowing that there was a game the next night?
Exactly.
Was that going to get done before that game?
There was immediacy.
Exactly. And they're in a situation where, like, man, like, we're trying to keep this guy who's a superstar, Kevin Durant. He's a little thin-skinned. We all know that. He's a little sensitive. I love Kevin Durant on how he replies on Twitter and everything. I get a kick out of it.
No, he's flawed.
But you have to cater to superstars like that, even if they are sensitive. And that was basically the move. Like, look, we got this guy from Oklahoma City. We have him. We're going to be in the championship contention every single season. Now, did Kevin Durant have his mind made up? According to a lot of people, he did. Whatever. But I don't. Bob Myers and Steve Kerr sitting there saying, look, man, we got to have something happen here. I don't blame them for wanting to get something done right then and there. And Draymond Green, now I do agree again. He was going to have to go to Kevin Durant and say something. When was that going to take place? How was that going to happen? We have no idea. But the line that I think was crossed there by Draymond Green is telling Jim and the team, like, dude, I'm either going to curse you out or laugh in your face. So I'm going to laugh in your face about me being apologizing and getting suspended for the game.
Okay, he crossed the line by calling another person in whatever you want to say, sports or not. You call someone the B word. Okay, that's the crux of how this whole thing started, and it was utterly disrespectful on a variety of levels. My grandma taught me a very simple proverb. Okay, B. Mm-hmm. Pride goes before the fall. All right, and before you're about to, fall to the bottom of the earth, you're going to be way too overconfident and way too arrogant, and that applies to Draymond Green in this situation. Let's say I take Kevin Durant out, because I think the source being Kevin Durant, a lot of people have predetermined feelings about Kevin Durant, which are very valid. Kevin is this, Kevin is not that, Kevin is this. He had his mind made up. Let's say he did that to Steph Curry or Klay Thompson. Would the reaction from Warrior fans defending Draymond Green be different?
Absolutely.
Come on.
Absolutely.
How about if he did this to Klay or Steph and then reacted to ownership and the front office and the coach the way he did the next day? Mm-hmm. Would that be acceptable?
Nope.
Come on, man. And I feel like in a roundabout way, both of them are trying to call out Klay and Steph and some of the other guys on the team for not, addressing it sooner?
It's also a combination of things. I think if this was the only thing Draymond Green ever did, I wouldn't be all bothered by it.
Yeah, it's the totality of all of his actions.
And, you think about this, you bring up Steph Curry. Maverick Carter sat up there on the same platform with Draymond Green, said, man, I can score on Steph Curry. His defense is trash. And Draymond just laughed it off. You don't think Curry felt some type of way about that? Curry's a nice dude. He'll never tell you that. He'll never tell you. You'll never know. But I got to think that bothered Steph a little bit. Damn, you letting LeBron's boy dog me out like that? Come on, Dre. I thought you had my back.
Look, again, it's not one action. It's the totality, the cumulative effect of all of these actions. Mm-hmm. And I always say, again, when is enough enough? When is my tolerance level lower than your talent level? You know what I'm saying? When is it higher? When am I saying to myself, I've kind of had enough with you? And really, us keeping you around is ruining my psyche, and we're having diminishing returns.
And to a lot of people on the 408, this interview is not old. This just got released by Bleacher Report. From what I understand, they were working on this interview or working on this package for a month. They were working on this package. Kevin Durant and Draymond Green sitting down for a new series called Chips on Bleacher Report. So this is, I guess, the first time Draymond has straight up asked Kevin Durant on camera about the situation. Let's get to the lines here. We got about 15 minutes left in the show, and I want to get to these calls here. Jake in Oakland, start us off here on 95.7 The Game. What's up, Jake?
What is up? So listen, you guys bring up a lot of good points, and I'm not gonna argue that this is not out of pocket from Draymond, but we know who Draymond. I got a word for Draymond, and it's Draymonstrative, and he's been Draymonstrative from day one. And I got the most love-hate relationship with him. We know he would have never won these titles without him. Never. Wouldn't even sniffed him, right? I think as good as Curry is, like they said, the corny heartbeat line, all that. But you say you know who KD is. We know who Draymond is. And I think we're making a bigger deal of this. I mean, players go on the podcast all the time. This is how the NBA is. That's their culture. They talk. They're open.
But do they call out? Do they call out their not superiors? Let's say they're partners, because I don't think that Bob is a superior over anyone. He's and Kerr. They work with these guys. That's the part that's unusual as well.
And what I'm saying is, I think, and I'm not saying this is right, but I think Bob and Steve have a much better understanding of everything and who Draymond is, and they're willing to take this. And you ask how much, when is enough, and how much diplomatic immunity do you get? Well, enough is enough when you can get Ben Simmons for him,
Right.
But otherwise, you got to hold on to him.
No doubt. No
I'm
doubt
with
at
you
all.
on this one.
Let's go to David in San
It's a
Mateo.
good call.
David in San Mateo. Very good call, Jake.
Demonstrative.
Yeah, very good call,
like
Jake.
that.
And you know what? Some of this, before we get David on the air, some of it is the Warriors' fault, the front office and the culture, because they've enabled Draymond to be the Draymond we all love, right? Mm-hmm. They've enabled Draymond to be this way, right? Mm-hmm. In a way where everything's been cool. He's going crazy in Oklahoma City. He's cursing out security. He's going to the locker room. The game 5 in the finals where he's suspended. This organization has kind of enabled Draymond to be Draymonstrative, as Jake said, in Oakland. Let's go to David in San Mateo. David, you're on 95.7 The Game. What's happening?
What's up, boys? How's it going?
Good. I can't complain.
This was a really good conversation, and that sound clip was pretty amazing. I agree in general about Draymond and all the stuff you guys said. I mean, he's a headache. He's a pain in the ass. But I kind of see his side in this specific situation, just talking about it and isolating it. He and Kay had this big blow-up. It didn't look good. But Draymond said it was up to me and Kevin to fix this. And the team, the way I see it, immediately rushed to Draymond, pointed the finger at him and said, you got to make it right. You got to make it right. They didn't even give it 24 hours. And I don't know if anybody
David,
Kevin said, hey,
wasn't it Draymond who threw the gasoline on the fire at Staples Center by calling him out of his name?
Yeah. No, he did. But if I'm a grown man and I get into another argument with another grown man, I don't want grown man number 3 coming in and saying, you got to do X, Y, and Z in this time frame to make it right. At least give me the opportunity to talk to the person. And so knowing Draymond's personality as it is, having someone tell him, you got to do this in a certain way, when maybe he thinks, look, this needs to come out, kind of organically, it's going to push him the wrong way. So I'm not saying he always handles things right. He usually doesn't.
Yeah.
But in this particular case, the team was doing this because they wanted to keep him happy, not because they wanted to do things right. And that's not really right in my opinion.
You also have to remember, and great call, actually. It's a great level-headed call. I think there was an immediacy that this particular working environment, whether you want to say it's completely unapplicable to a normal working environment, I agree. But there are certain elements you cannot have dysfunction, and you cannot have immediate dysfunction the following day when you have a game. You can't let these things linger. You got to attack them. So there was a timetable. What, are you just going to let Draymond Green just waltz into the locker room? There's only 12 guys in that room. I mean, we've all worked with somebody who sucks the air out of a room.
No doubt.
Imagine being in that work environment. To me, you at any leadership, whether we're talking about a construction site, a small family business, this studio, the Warriors, you got to talk about those things almost immediately if you're going back to work the very next day.
And the 510 makes a great point. They had a flight back to the Bay that night because they had a back-to-back, so they had a flight where they could have spoke.
That's what I'm saying.
And Durant was by himself somewhere while Shaw Livingston and Klay Thompson trying to defuse the situation in the locker room. This kind of sparked because Draymond had the ball. Durant, was he right to be clapping? That's what great players do. Come on, baby, I'm going to score. Let's go. Let me hit this game winner. We go home with the W and we get back to the Bay Area. Well, but they didn't happen. And then on the bench, Draymond basically said, we won without you. We don't need you. Leave. I'm like, you're telling Kevin Durant that?
Well, and I think lost in all of this, that night, newsflash, Dre, the best play when no Steph Curry's out there is throwing the ball to Durant, getting the hell out of his way.
Right, no doubt. All right, let's we're gonna get to Terry and Antonio in a second. Let's bring this guy out of Alcatraz. We'll put him on punishment for a week.
Pull him out of the jail cell.
Put him on punishment for a week. But this conversation, this topic is right up his wheelhouse.
Uh-oh.
It's Duriel in San Jose.
Get him.
Hey, barbecue chicken, like I said, trying to be best friends, trying to do damage control, 0 points in the big game. That's what you got to look forward to in the finals in this Game 7. He's under LeBron's spell. He thinks he's LeBron, but he can't play like that, and you're letting him get away with LeBron stuff and everything. So, Steph, over there, be quiet. Let him do it. Like I said, hold his hand, put him in the Hall of Fame. I hope you make it to the Hall of Fame, Draymond. Barbecue chicken, no sauce. I would score points on you and everything. You have no kind of skills. You're not winning no skills competitions and everything. You know what I'm saying? So all these fans that are backing you up that never played basketball or don't know how to play basketball or whatever, you can look me up on YouTube. Duriel Walker, Take Your Breath Away on YouTube, In Your Face Mix. I'll show you some stuff that what Draymond should be doing and what we need on our team and everything. Somebody could go in there and grit and grind the bucket and all that. Hello?
Duriel, I'm going to put you back in Alcatraz because you're making no sense right now.
Call us back in a week, Duriel.
It all of a sudden turned into a promo for his YouTube channel.
It's out of control. Antonio in Oakland. Antonio, what's going on, man? You're on 95.7.
We gave him a chance.
We gave him a chance, and now he's back in jail. Antonio's not in jail.
Yeah,
he's on
Antonio, you're a good call. Let's hear it, baby.
Oh, yeah, Draymond Green, man, I'm so tired of his act, man. These interviews, these podcast shows, him kissing LeBron James' butt all the time, missing layups, being a bad shooter. But I will say this, though. When he clapped at Durant, and I actually criticized him after he did that. And then later on, I ended up playing a pickup basketball game, and it was game point, and I actually clapped at one of my teammates, like, give me the ball. I'm going to score. So, I guess in the heat of the battle, you can't really control that. But, hey, Draymond, he's basically like the new T.O. He's outspoken. He's going to say what he got to say. And I didn't really, like some of the stuff they said. The only thing I really liked about the interview was Kevin Durant had that lovely A's hat on. That's about it. That's all I really liked.
Antonio, let me ask you this. What should the Warriors do moving forward now about this? As we spin forward, I know Steiny, Guru, and Dibs are going to touch on all this stuff.
Who we got today from them?
I mean, yeah.
We have Dibs.
Oh, we have Dibs.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Dibs.
Let's get the Dibs real quick. Let's rat-a-tat Terry and Doug.
Quickly.
Yeah, quickly. Terry and Doug. What should the Warriors do about this situation now?
It's you. You're up. Let's go.
Terry, what's up, baby?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, man. What should the Warriors do about this? You got about 30 seconds before you get the Dibs.
Okay, so the Warriors should recognize that you need somebody that understands the culture to resolve conflict. If you look at Scotty and Mike, Kobe and Shaq, you had somebody outside the culture trying to tell them what to do. Draymond has the right to tell Kevin Durant, these are the reasons why I called you the B word. They go in a room, they work it out, and then you can have true healing. They're not 5 years old where you can tell somebody, say you're sorry. So Draymond and Kevin Durant both said the Warriors culture messed this up because they didn't allow the true healing. You just put them in a room and say, hey, man, y'all go work it out. That's what's done in our culture all the way up through AAU basketball.
Yeah, but they were on an airplane the night before. I hear you. They were on an airplane the night before, and neither of the two could be talked to, and they were completely separated from each other. They had a game the very next day. Like, that sounds great when we have a lot of time in between games, and you're not together. They were physically together that night, and then they physically were going to be together the very next day. If they did not interject, then this situation would have gone nowhere.
No, you're wrong, because what you do, you play a night game the next day. So you can bring them in at shoot-around at 12 o'clock, at 1 o'clock, at 3 o'clock the next day. You give them the time to cool off and say, hey, man, can y'all sit down in the room and try to work this out?
They literally brought him in the next morning. They brought him in the next morning, and Draymond said, I ain't apologizing for nothing, and was more insubordinate the next morning.
All right, let's get the Dibs here. Doug and Berkeley, if you want to call Dibs, Steiny and Guru, go ahead and do that. Sorry, we got to run here with Dibs.
Stay on hold.
Dibs on the showdown.
Yeah,
stay on hold. They will take the call. Dan Dibley, they're on the showdown.
We won't take the call, and I appreciate you trying to dictate content.
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming.
Doug, if you want to stay on hold till 2 p.m., thoughts and prayers, all the best. So you go Duriel, and by the way, Duriel's YouTube video, if you want an absolute gut-wrenching, riotous laugh, go ahead and look at some of those moves.
Dibs, we just had him in Alcatraz for a week. We told him not to call for a week, so we finally take his call, and he does that. And it's like, you know what? Don't call us for another week.
He may be doing a longer stretch. We got Lori in Arizona on a 4-week ban for another unrelated FCC violation.
Phoenix?
But
really?
yeah, may have dropped a bomb on us earlier in the week.
Wow.
But not Gap banned. But yeah, she dropped a bomb on us, baby. Hey, guys, I mean, can you believe it's August 18th and we're talking about the KD, Draymond. We're talking Warriors in mid-August, and it feels oh so right.
Hey, okay, Dibs, look, you've lived a little, as the famous Gary Ratnich said, and you understand all about, like, relationship stuff. this is not a normal work environment. No one is saying that this is like working at Facebook or working at my old grocery store or anything like that. This is very unique. But there are certain dynamics of just relationships, and I cannot get over for the life of me the utter disrespect Draymond Green has for someone like Bob Myers to say, I was laughing in his face, I would have cussed him out. Like, why are you opening this can of worms? That element of all this, the drive-by shooting on the front office here, was just so unnecessary.
And it's damaging to what he really wants, which is another chance to win a championship. So if you're a free agent and you wake up this morning and you open up the newspaper, well, I know we don't do that anymore, but you guys get the bit. And you look at the news and you see Draymond and KD basically defecating on the Warriors front office. If you're looking at a possible destination, you're not coming here. And Draymond Green wants veteran help more than ever before, and yet he's going to disparage his own front office, which is going to deprive him of what he really wants. It makes no sense in terms of his own competitive desire to win again, but what this does is it pushes his brand, it moves the chains on Draymond Green, media mogul, a little bit further forward.
Man, Debs, I'm sorry, man. I took the time out to look at Duriel, put up a jumper here. Duriel Walker, oh boy. Let me just say.
Can you get that 30 seconds back?
No, I can't get the 30 seconds back. And you're right, Dibs. He's going to be out for a month on this show. He extended the sentence.
The fact that he puts Berlin, Take My Breath Away as the backdrop, I'm telling you, B, I was in absolute tears. I haven't cried that hard since the birth of my second child. I was laughing so hard.
No, that's it. What should the Warriors do moving forward, man, with
seriously.
this one? Because could you imagine us laughing in Matt Nahiga's face, telling him, like, it's either me laughing in your face or cursing you out? What do you think Matt Nahiga's doing?
Well, we actually talked about it in our show call, and today it's going to be JD in for Guru, Steiny, JD, and Dibs, and we'll talk about that very thing. But, you know, what the most disrespectful thing you could do to another person is spit in their face. But laughing in their face has got to rank in the top 5. I don't know if it's number 2, but it's pretty damn close to me as far as, you know, what you can do to another person to totally disrespect them. But guys, let's think about it. If now they decide that they can move off of Draymond, let's say at the trade deadline or in the offseason, Warrior fans are going to be much more okay with it. But will number 30, and that to me is the real rat on the table. The biggest question of all is, what does number 30 think of this latest break in the ranks?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Dibs, we're going to get you on out of here, but the culpability, the lack of responsibility and culpability from both of these guys, it's not shocking, but I'm shaking my head. I'm saying, you guys are both delusional, Durant and Draymond Green, and I feel like they did sideswipe Steph Curry by saying, oh, the team, and I think they were insinuating Curry himself didn't kind of step in and try to bring them all together.
It's this IDGAF nature of stars in the NBA where you don't have to really care what management thinks, because if management says, if they try to rebuke you, now you can just say, oh, I want out, or I'm going to sit out. The players have all the power.
No doubt. Dibs, have a good show.
Next level, Steve.
Close my eyes and picture Duriel hitting that little 12-foot fadeaway in the low left block.
With Dibs clapping for the ball like KD on the sideline, with Duriel shooting jumpers.
I can't believe I YouTubed that, man.
Duriel, give me the ball.
Oh, man. That is just too much,
I can't wait to listen to that.
Dibs, have a great show.
I want to listen, man. Things.
Oh, man. What a show. What a show. What a day.
I mean, this is something.
Giants-Mets day game.
You know what? I'm requesting that Draymond Green download one song, and I know we've canceled this individual. Michael Jackson's Man in the Mirror.
Oh, man.
Just listen to that song and tell me you don't feel a little something in the soul.
Nice guy. Nice job. Curly, good job. Shasky, talk to you in the morning. Giants-Mets, 12:45, but don't go anywhere. Steiny, Steiny, Dibs, and JD coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Listening to Steiny, Guru, and Dibs is easier than ever.
It's